You're about to be executed by Zhu Yuanzhang via the Lingqi torture. Yet, you're not even sweating. You're actually hyped. Turns out, you've speedrun dying 9 times throughout history. And this is the final boss fight to head back to the modern world and unlock eternal life. You finally return, but plot twist. This time you're just a peasant son, and you're somehow on Zhu Yuanzhang's personal hit list. Plus, the golden rule is, you can't cause any national disasters after racking your brain for half a day. You realize there's only one way out, and that's becoming the biggest corrupt official in history. So, you hit the books for 10 years like your life depended on it, only to barely pass the imperial exam. But hey, at least you're officially a government official now, even if it's only in the middle of nowhere. You get sent to Yanmen County on the frontier to serve as the local magistrate. Once you clock in, you start your corruption speedrun, finding every possible way to embezzle cash for 3 years straight. Finally, your term is up, and you submit your official report to Zhu Yuanzhang. Your Majesty, I've been a magistrate for 3 years. I've embezzled millions, built a mansion way above my pay grade, used my status to run private businesses on the side. I know I'm pure trash, so please, just drop the axe on my neck already. A debt is a debt, time to pay up. The corruption plan is coming together, and you're just chilling in your villa playing with your pet bird, feeling absolutely ecstatic. Meanwhile, inside the imperial study at Yingxin Mansion, a massive slam echoes through the room. Zhu Yuanzhang straight up smashes his dragon desk in half, throwing your report onto the floor like it's hot garbage. Roaring in pure rage, I've lived half a century, and I've never seen a moron so eager to test if my blade is still sharp. A tiny little magistrate dares to embezzle 1,000,000 taels of silver. The chief eunuch outside gets spooked by the sudden rage quit, drops his duster in terror. Zhu Yuanzhang screams, "Somebody, summon the commander of the Imperial Guard, Mao Xiang." The eunuch is shaking like a leaf, scrambling to pick up his duster before sprinting off. Before long, a general wearing golden armor, with eyes sharp as a sword, steps into the study. Zhu Yuanzhang stands up, seething. You're heading to Yanmen County yourself. Execute Magistrate Ye Qing with the Lingqi torture. I want him sliced into pieces. Mao Xiang bowed, then dipped as fast as he could to get those orders executed. Zhu Yuanzhang was still steaming. Where's everyone? Get this eyesore out of my sight and burn it to ashes right now. The eunuch, Chang, was shaking like a leaf as he scurried in to grab the document and book it out of there. Just as he stepped out of the palace gate, he ran into a middle-aged woman. Chang immediately dropped to his knees and bowed in pure fear. Empress Ma saw the poor guy running for his life and asked, "The Emperor having another meltdown? Your Majesty, the boss is absolutely losing his mind right now. It's all because of this scroll." Empress Ma took a look at the document in the eunuch's trembling hands. She was genuinely curious. What kind of madman would write a report, practically begging for his own execution? She snatched it away. Nobody else would dare touch it, but Empress Ma didn't fear anyone. After scanning it, she was genuinely stunned. But instead of throwing a tantrum like Zhu Yuanzhang, she actually started thinking about this low-level district magistrate. Why would he commit suicide by paperwork during his evaluation? Embezzling millions? The kid is delusional. The entire imperial tax revenue for a year is barely a few million. He's just a magistrate of a tiny border town. There's no way he could have stolen that much in 3 years. Something isn't adding up here. Empress Ma didn't waste a second and marched straight into the study. Changba, are you really not seeing the red flags in this report? Zhu Yuanzhang had just calmed down, but seeing that infuriating paper again made his blood pressure spike. What's wrong with you, woman? I told you to burn that garbage. Zhu Yuanzhang puffed out his chest, trying to play the part of a stern husband, putting his wife in her place. Empress Ma just ignored him and shot a look at the eunuch, Chang. The guy took the hint and scrambled out, clearing the room of all the staff. The moment the door closed, a pathetic wail echoed from the study. The Emperor was definitely getting schooled. Honey, come on. This isn't the Empress's palace anymore. Have some mercy. Inside, Zhu Yuanzhang was sitting on his throne, rubbing his head and finally actually reading the report carefully. Empress Ma pointed at the text. Even the Jiangnan region is still trying to recover its economy. That tiny district is so poor that even if you sold every resident for parts, you wouldn't get anywhere near that much money. Zhu Yuanzhang finally realized that something smelled fishy. My dear, I think I catch your drift now. These reports clearly didn't end up on my desk by accident. It's the Secretariat, and the first guy to see it is Hu Weiyang. Right now at court, the Huaixi faction is low-key recruiting officials across the Ming dynasty, letting the ministers flex more power than the emperor himself. By now, basically every local official has either openly joined or is secretly simping for the Huaixi squad. Anyone who says no? Yeah, they're getting banished to the middle of nowhere. So, for a random magistrate to actually get a treasonous-level petition through, he had to bypass the Secretariat entirely, so it could land straight on the emperor's desk. Now that they've achieved their goal, that poor magistrate is already a dead man walking. Thinking about this, Zhu Yuanzhang immediately grabs Empress Ma's hand. My dear, having you by my side is the biggest W I've ever had. Empress Ma looks at Zhu Yuanzhang and smiles. Changba, don't forget, the Ming dynasty was only founded 6 years ago. The empire is still unstable, so you absolutely cannot kill off the loyal ones. Zhu Yuanzhang nods. I hear you. I'm gonna go take a field trip myself. The next day, on the Imperial Road outside the Jinshu Gate of Yingtian City, Zhu Yuanzhang and Empress Ma are disguised as wealthy merchants, under the protection of Imperial guards. Posing as bodyguards who caught up with Mao Xiang, pulling a few carts of goods, they head out on the road toward Yanmen County. As for the court work, he left it to his MVP deputy, Zhu Biao. Along the way, Zhu Yuanzhang carefully inspects the lives of the peasants in the north. He's ready to handle whatever comes his way. Nearly a month later, Mao Xiang is scouting ahead near the Yanmen County border marker when he suddenly pulls on his horse's reins and stops, causing the whole convoy to slam on the brakes. Empress Ma goes flying straight into Zhu Yuanzhang's chest. My dear, you good? Zhu Yuanzhang turns his head. His face drops instantly, but before he can lose his cool, Empress Ma gives him a look to shut him up. She knows these elite soldiers are pros, so if they stopped like that, something crazy must be going down. The two of them hop out of the carriage, but the sight in front of them leaves them absolutely shook. Behind the Yanmen border marker, there's a perfectly straight, massive road. On both sides of the road are these pristine drainaged ditches. The ditches connect to massive lush fields that stretch for days. The fields are popping with bright yellow raceseed flowers, and young men and women are out there living their best lives. The farmers working the land are actually out here, laughing and chatting. This golden age aesthetic is so cracked that Zhu Yuanzhang's crew can't. Bro never expected to find such a peaceful paradise deep in Daming territory, especially right on the front lines of a war zone. Even places like Jiangnan don't have scenes this wholesome, right? Little sis, if we had been this happy when we were kids, I never would have bothered becoming emperor. Zhu Yuanzhang sighed, clearly feeling some type of way. He turned his head instinctively. But Empress Ma was nowhere to be seen. Where did my wifey go? Mao Xuxiang, standing nearby, hurriedly pointed toward the fields. That's when Zhu Yuanzhang realized Empress Ma had already sprinted off into the field of rapeseed flowers. She was out there catching spring vibes with He Ming and a group of local girls. A moment later, Empress Ma came running back, rocking a flower crown and living her best life. Changba, do I look pretty? Zhu Yuanzhang nodded with a grin. You're the absolute baddest in the entire realm, Empress Ma said, satisfied. I already asked around. This road is called the Ma Road, and it was built by Yanmen County Magistrate Ye Qing. Zhu Yuanzhang fell into deep thought. He'd been traveling incognito from the capital, and the closer he got to the border, the more the peasants usually suffered. Being a man who rose from the mud, Zhu Yuanzhang swore an oath that he'd make Daming a superpower, where everyone had a bun in their hand to eat. And it looked like that dream was actually coming to life. Right in front of him. All right, Weefy. Let's roll, we're heading into the city. Let's hope this isn't just all for show. The caravan pushed forward, completely unaware that they were already being tracked by the county's intelligence unit. A guard on the city wall was peeping through binoculars, analyzing Zhu Yuanzhang's crew like a total sweat. That merchant caravan has horses that are all the exact same breed and height. Those are top-tier war horses. Go tell magistrate We've got suspicious B1 spies disguised as traitors. They're definitely trying to sniff out our military intel in Yanmen. In a flash, a young guy in simple peasant clothes, but with eyes like a hawk, rode straight to the county government office. The guards at the gate saw him and let him pass without a second thought. The dude hit the ground, running the second. He cleared the door. The government office was massive, and he sprinted past the rokeries and the fancy gardens, through the pavilions and the administrative halls, and finally tore through the main courtroom just to reach the inner quarters. Meanwhile, Ye Qing was just chilling on a rocking chair in the courtyard, vibing to the sound of bugs and birds, reminiscing about the epic, legendary lives he lived in his past reincarnations, just quietly waiting for the death sentence to drop. Just then, the local official approaches, waiting for the special ops team to report that they've spotted a merchant caravan, suspected of being northern spies. You just roll over and keep napping, letting the NPCs handle the grind. Meanwhile, Zhu Yuanzhang is staring at the toll receipt at the city gate like, I really misjudged this guy. Thought he was actually a decent official. Turns out this road was built just to shake people down for money. And they're even letting women work out in the open. I'm definitely holding grudge for this one. Empress Ma, however, is chilling and totally unbothered. She thinks this road toll system is actually a massive W. The lady at the toll booth already explained it clearly. If you don't pay the toll, who's gonna pay for the maintenance of such a premium road? Who's gonna clear the horse manure? And besides, it's creating jobs for the locals. Empress Ma just side-eyes Zhu Yuanzhang and smirks. So what if they're women? Women getting to support themselves is a huge flex compared to the alternative. Plus, you gotta pave the roads if you want that economy to moon. I think it's a genius take. And it's not like the regular peasants are even paying. It's just us wealthy traders footing the bill. Everyone else is waiting in line like civilized people. But of course, the high and mighty emperor is the one complaining the loudest. After getting roasted by Empress Ma, Zhu Yuanzhang is starting to tilt. He gets the logic, but it still stings to get scammed like this. Their single carriage just got taxed 50 silver taels. The shipping rates are even more of a robbery, basing the toll on the estimated value of the goods. Their high-end silk shipment just got hit with a 500 tael fee. Straight-up highway robbery. Zhu Yuanzhang furrows his brows. I ain't buying it for a second. He claims the money goes to road maintenance, but I bet this fraud is just lining his own pockets. Empress Ma is starting to get a bit sus too. Changba has a point. And I really don't want this Yi Qing guy to be just another corrupt official. The Great Ming needs a chat administrator like him. Meanwhile, the special ops team is getting even more convinced that Zhu Yunzhang's crew are northern spies. The reason? They were the absolute slowest at paying the toll. For centuries, the northern savages have only known how to raid and pillage. They wouldn't know how to pay a toll if it hit them in the face. Northern spies are always acting out like this the first time they roll into Yanmen County. The special ops captain is feeling big brain energy about his deduction. Can't help but grip his Suchun blade. Eyes narrowing, he says, with cold, main character intensity. Tails, set. The whole squad hops onto the sidewalk and moves in for the ambush. The buildings lining the road are all uniform, 6-story structures. The ground floor is packed with shops, and every intersection features a skyscraper-style watchtower. Each tower has 4 guards armed with crossbows and fire weapons, watching over every corner of this district like hawks. Zhu Yan's was just about to praise this genius level of management, but the next second, his eyes damn near popped out of his head. Right in front of him was a flashy, gold-plated sign, clearly bragging about the Yanmen Beefed Grand Restaurant. There was even a promo poster at the entrance, detailing all the different ways to feast on beef. This place's braised beef is honestly a total banger. Well, obviously, it's the top-tier joint backed by Lord Yi's own pockets. They even throw in free ice-cold drinks on the house. You little brat, you used to say, cows were essential for farming and eating them was a crime. So how's that beef tasting now? Do you even have to ask? As Zhu Yuanzhang brushed past those merchants, listening to their gossip, he instantly transformed back into the cold-blooded Emperor Hongwu. Empress Ma looked at the blank expression on Changba's face, her heart turning to ice. But just as she was about to speak, A furious shout rang out from the street. Why the hell are you guys stopping? You're blocking traffic. Move your asses. This absolute lack of manners made Zhu Yuanzhang lose his mind. Let's head into this beef restaurant linked to Lord Yi and see what the hype is about. Empress Ma heard that ice-cold tone, clearly sensing the heavy killing intent. Mostly because everything she was seeing right now was something even an empress like her couldn't have predicted. How did they even dare to eat beef? After the Great Ming was founded, they straight up banned all beef sales to protect farm production. Anyone caught breaking the law gets the death penalty. The brutal 1,000 cuts treatment. As the group stepped into the restaurant, a waiter dressed in crisp clothes rushed over to greet them. He could tell at a glance that these guys were wealthy tourists from out of town. Welcome, sirs. Is this your first time gracing our establishment? Zhu Yanzhang scanned the waiter. His gut told him the guy was sharp and definitely knew all the tea in Yanmen. This main hall is way too noisy for a decent meal. You got it. The waiter practically tripped over himself to help. Of course we have space, sir. Right this way. Please head upstairs. Just then, the guard in charge of the carriage came sprinting in. My lord, we can't stay out there forever. If we block the road, the local patrol will show up and hit us with a massive fine. Zhu Stizhang's face went full wait. What mode? The waiter, seeing the confusion, immediately stepped in to explain. No worries. Newcomers always find the rules a bit confusing at first. After a quick breakdown, the squad finally caught on to how things worked around here. They actually seemed to vibe with the idea of cracking down on illegal parking and blocking traffic. With that settled, the group headed up to a private room on the second floor. Once they were seated, the waiter pulled out the menu and started the sales pitch. As Zhu Yuanzhang heard the list of beef dishes, his expression started darkening faster than a cultivation villain, losing his plot armor. So, let me guess, this beef of yours is just diseased cattle or stuff. Died of natural causes. You scammed off the farmers. Empress Ma felt a weight lift off her chest upon hearing that question. She knew the emperor was just being his usual cheap self as long as the restaurant wasn't actually crippling the agricultural labor force. She thought Yi Qing, the magistrate of Yanmen, might actually survive this. But she never expected the waiter's face to go from customer service mode to pure rage in a heartbeat. Listen here, pal. What's your deal exactly? The beef we serve is top tier, freshly slaughtered, and worth every single coin you're paying. The waiter blabbered on, completely missing the fact that Zhu Yuanzhang was 1 second away from a total mental breakdown. But assuming they were just some clueless out-of-toners, the waiter chuckled and added, "Trust me, eat up, you're safe. No one is gonna come knocking for you lot, because the real boss of this establishment is none other than our county magistrate himself." As the waiter bragged about Magistrate Ye Qing, Empress Ma and Mao Shang glanced at the emperor, both thinking the exact same thing. Yi Qing is a dead man walking. With a loud smash, the solid wood table under Zhu Yuanzhang shattered into splinters. A corrupt official daring to break the law he's supposed to uphold. This was a death sentence, but the waiter, oblivious, just kept acting cocky. "Hey boss, you sound like you're from the south, right? According to our magistrate. People like you are basically just brain-dead fanboys of the current emperor." Zhu Yuanzhang stared the waiter down and gritted out. The emperor has spent his entire life driving out the northern invaders, restoring the nation. Why is it a bad thing to be a fan of his? The waiter couldn't care less, just laughing it off. "Big guy, you're not wrong." Even Magistrate Yi admits the emperor's achievements against the invaders will go down in history. The waiter glanced over at Ying Tianfu, with eyes full of absolute admiration. This 180-degree personality flip had Zhu Yuanzhang shook to his core. Empress Ma couldn't help but chime in. "My dude, I've been counting. You guys are moving at least 3 cows a day here. 90 cows a month? That's not exactly pocket change, bro. Where are you even getting this many cows from?" Zhu Yuanzhang's eyes went wide, thinking, right? How is a tiny border town pumping out these kinds of numbers? The waiter just laughed it off. "Easy clap. Our beef all comes from the labor camp farm built by Lord Yi Chen. It's got nothing to do with those peasant-tier local farms." Zhuazong couldn't stop himself. "Little bro, what exactly is a labor camp farm?" Can we go check it out? The waiter chuckled at their persistence. Look, old man, you really don't want to see that place. Because the only guests we get there are the convicts doing hard time. Ao Xiang couldn't help but jump in. Convicts doing hard time? What's that even mean? The waiter grinned, but wasn't about to spill the tea. Look, this ain't really business talk for guys like you. I'll go get your food sorted. And once you're stuffed, I'll show you to your rooms. The waiter tried to bounce, but Zhu Yanzhang grabbed him by the shoulder. The man still had one burning question to drop. I noticed you've got watchtowers at every intersection, and the guards are rocking crossbows and actual firearms. Are these military-grade structures? Really, just for basic neighborhood watch? As soon as those words hit, the waiter's face did a complete 180. He started scanning these dudes up and down, sizing them up. Wait, are you guys out here trying to fish for military secrets? The waiter's brain started racing, thinking about forced labor reform. He figured these shady guys were definitely looking for a one-way ticket to that. If they were really that sus, he wouldn't hesitate to report them to the local authorities. Zhu Yanzhang stared him down with piercing eyes and gave a fake backstory. I was an old soldier who helped the emperor conquer the world, so I've got a soft spot for this tactical gear. The waiter didn't buy the veteran bit for a second. I'd keep your nose out of military affairs. Pops, this is a border town. Get real. With that, the waiter dipped. But by now, Zhu Yanzhang was basically convinced. Magistrate Yi Qing was definitely cooking something up with the local military, which is a massive red flag. Civil officials messing with local military ops is a death sentence. Zhu Yanzhang finished his meal, stone-faced, while the waiter immediately went to snitch to the Secret Service captain. Looks like these clowns are fishing for intel. So keep a close eye on them while I go ask Lord Yi for the game plan. After dropping the orders, the special agent hopped on his horse and toddled toward the county office. He arrived in a flash and sprinted straight to the back courtyard. The place was as massive as a duke's mansions. But you were just standing in the meeting hall, staring at the calendar on the wall like a total space cadet. This makes zero sense with how Chuzhong operates. That death warrant should have arrived ages ago. Did the royal messenger get lost or something? Are you seriously wishing for immortality, just so you can go back to the modern world? A loud "my lord" suddenly snapped you back to reality. My lord, we've confirmed. Those guys are definitely Northern Yuan spies, especially that big boss dressed like a rich merchant. Hearing the report, you stood up immediately. Despite being a civil official, you suddenly radiated an aura of pure carnage. You narrowed your eyes. In a deep, cold voice you commanded, arrest them immediately, then send them to hard labor for screening. The special agent saluted and zoomed off to get it done. Meanwhile, the squad with Chu Yuanzhang had finally reached the Yanmen nursing home. The massive courtyard was packed with bizarre workout equipment nobody had ever seen before. They couldn't help but wander in, finding a bunch of silver-haired seniors, busy crushing various fitness routines. On the wall in the center were the rules for entry. First, must have served in the war against the Yuan. Second, descendants must have died fighting the Northern Yuan. Third, descendants must have been seriously injured or killed while building a stronger Yanmen. Seeing all this, Chu Yanzhang felt a massive internal struggle. How in the hell am I supposed to judge the merits and crimes of this guy? Ye Qing's? After checking out the Huimin nursing home, the group swung by the Yanmen Huimin clinic right next door. The architecture was legit, filled with wood, bamboo, and medicinal kilns. There was a huge line of people waiting for meds, all of them sporting broken limbs or missing parts. Yuanzhang and Mao Xiang were both military men, so they recognized these as classic war wounds immediately. Seeing the scene, Empress Ma, who had personally bandaged countless wounded soldiers in the past, couldn't hold back her tears as she whispered, "They say peace is won by the generals, but denying the generals a look at. That peace really has a point to it. Those who sacrificed everything to secure this peace from the Northern Yuan now have to rely on charity." Deep down, Zhu Yuanzhang is feeling absolutely devastated right now. After founding the dynasty and ruling for 6 years, he's already rewarded all the big-shot officials who helped him build this empire. Yet for the soldiers who actually bled and died for this, he hasn't passed a single policy to look after them. And yet, this rank 7 corrupt county magistrate actually managed to do it. Zhu Yanzhang couldn't help but shake his head in self-deprecation. As the mighty Hongwu Emperor of the Great Ming, he's doing a worse job than a low-level magistrate. Let's head back. We're going to pay this Master Yi a visit tomorrow. On the way back, a glimmer of joy sparked in Zhu Yuanzhang's heart. My queen, once I get back, I'm building these support centers all across the Ming dynasty. Empress Ma agreed immediately. That's right, Changba. We can't let our soldiers lose hope. Exactly. And not just that, we need to build free public cemeteries too. Speaking of this, Zhu Yanzhang visibly froze. Back then, my own parents were left rotting at home because we had no place to bury them. If Brother Liu hadn't given me a scrap of barren land, I would have just watched rats gnaw on their bodies. Now that I'm the emperor, I can't let the people of Ming suffer the same fate. Hearing this, Empress Ma's heart ached. She grabbed Changba's hand and gave a firm nod. The group headed back toward the inn where they were staying. But trailing behind them, the captain of the secret guard silently emerged. His gaze was sharp as a blade. Did these Northern Yuan spies really think they could just sleep soundly in an inn? He turned to his subordinate and barked the order. You, circle around to the east gate and tell the battalion commander to initiate the plan. In no time, 1,000 fully armored soldiers flooded the streets, followed by 1,000 archers equipped with fire arrows. The battalion commander led the troops, whispering, "Move into the ambush positions exactly as planned. Don't disturb the other guests. And don't let a single suspect escape. If you mess this up, every officer is going to face military's tribunal punishment." The armored soldiers quickly scrambled into their positions, while the archers took the high ground surrounding the inn. At this point, not even a single bird was flying out of that place. Mao Xiang, inside the main hall, sensed something was off and instinctively reached for the blade at his waist. "Master, milady, something feels wrong." Empress Ma saw Mao Xiang getting all tense and whispered, "Mao Xiang, don't be so jumpy. If others see the sword hilt on your waist, it'll give us away. Might accidentally cause some unnecessary drama. This is a border town, so the local guards are on high alert, hunting for spies." Zhu Yanzhang nodded and said, "Sis is right, they aren't targeting us. Let's just act oblivious and check into the inn." As soon as he finished talking and turned to head upstairs, the sound of clanking armor suddenly filled the air. In a blink, Empress Ma and the crew were shocked to see the hallways, from the first to the third floor packed with armored soldiers. Zhu Yanzhang's eyes locked onto their gear. It was all standardized, high-grade steel armor, and every single plate, from size to thickness, had that exact same uniform finish. He knew exactly what this level of manufacturing actually implied. Before he could process it, the commander and the special ops captain stepped up. The commander whipped out a warrant that looked like it belonged in the future. "You are suspected of being enemy spies within our Yanmen County jurisdiction. You're under arrest, so don't even try to pull anything funny." Zhu Yanzhang stared at the warrant in disbelief, seeing Ye Qing's signature and official seal right there. This wasn't a drill. They were actually treating them like Northern Yuan spies. Zhu Yanzhang chuckled nervously. "Guys, there's been a massive misunderstanding here." The captain and the commander just stared at his weak excuses, completely unimpressed. Last week, they caught a Northern Yuan spy who claimed to be the emperor himself. These guys always act like they're about to meet their end. Nonsense, just to delay the inevitable. The captain and commander were tired of this act, so they decided to wrap it up immediately. The commander gave a signal, and 2 guards slammed a wooden shackle onto Zhu Yunsig's neck with surgical precision. Caught off guard, Zhu Yanzhang was equal parts shocked and furious. "Do you even have any idea who you're dealing with?" Empress Ma and Mao Xiang were stunned, but the cold glinting weapons pointed at them kept them frozen in place. The commander heard the middle-aged guy leading the group shouting, "Sa," gave a mocking smirk, stepped forward and said, "Heh, I bet you're gonna tell me you're the current emperor, right?" Shacked up and locked down, Zhu Yuanzhang's eyes widened, his brain literally struggling to process this level of stupidity. Seeing the shock on his face, the commander smugly replied, "Northern Yuan spies, can you guys at least try to be a bit more creative? Claiming to be the emperor? We've already caught 3 of you losers this month. Empress Ma and Mao Xiang were about to drop the truth. But after hearing that, they were left completely speechless. Suddenly, the special ops captain stepped up, unlocked the gear, and laughed. "You've got a lot of energy for a prisoner, huh? I'll just get you a different one." As soon as he said that, the two guards lunged forward to pin down Zhu Yuanzhang, slapping a heavy wooden yoke on him in a heartbeat. The sheer weight of that thing made Zhu Yuanzhang's eyes pop out of his head. Right now, there was only one thing on his mind. He wanted to execute every single one of these clowns by slow slicing. And that corrupt magistrate too. Who gives a yoke to an emperor? Is this guy trying to get unalived or what? Zhu Yuanzhang was about to whip out his imperial seal when he heard a pointed cough from Empress Ma. After surviving the trenches together for so long, this power couple had that telepathic connection on lock. Empress Ma couldn't let the big boss lose his cool and throw a tantrum over this. She stepped up and said, "Commander, we get where you're coming from. We'll fully cooperate with your little investigation. Could you maybe take these shackles off for a sec?" The captain and the commander looked at this woman with the main character aura and actually started to show some respect. Her delivery was absolutely flawless. After exchanging a look, the commander said, "The two dudes have high-tier martial arts. They stay chained. But you don't have to worry, lady." In no time at all, the streets were hosting the most cursed spectacle of the year. Over 1,000 fully armored guards escorting two dudes wearing heavy-duty wooden yokes, with a calm lady just strolling behind them. Aoshang literally never saw this coming. The guy is the commander of the Imperial Guards, and now he's out here rocking custom-made prison. Zhu Yuanzhang was even more shook. He's the literal emperor. Yet here he is being paraded around in shackles for the whole town to see. If his better half hadn't signaled him to keep his cool, this whole squad of guards would already be permanent residents of the morgue. Meanwhile, back at the magistrate's office, you're still staring intensely at that calendar. Your aide walks up and says, "Sir, it's dinner time. How many days have you been staring at that thing?" You snap back to reality and mutter, "Something's not adding up. Did the messenger actually run into some trouble?" Even if Zhu Yuanzhang was out here on some secret expedition, he should have arrived by now, right? Just then, the captain's voice echoes from outside, "Sir. The scouts have all been rounded up and tossed in the dungeon. You put on your serious face. Stick to the protocol. Send them off to hard labor first thing tomorrow morning." "Understood, sir." "But there is one thing," the captain said, hesitating after his report. Your eyes lit up. "Spill it." So the captain went into a play-by-play of the arrest. One of the middle-aged guys was dressed like a rich merchant. But he had this guy's rocking the bodyguard drip, and his situational awareness is actually cracked. The girl next to him is so elite, she doesn't even look like a North Plains demoness. After processing the intel, you think for a second and drop the command, lock them up in the same cell. I want to personally interrogate these clowns and find out what they're hiding. Understood, my lord. The squad captain dips immediately to get it done. Meanwhile, Zhu Yuanzhang and his crew get hauled to the slamzer, staring at the architecture like they've seen a ghost. The center is this massive 6-story cylinder made of brick and wood. Surrounding the main building are 8 rectangular stone cell blocks. Outside the prison, there's an absolutely massive plaza, and circling that plaza is a wall perimeter, swarming with heavily armed guards. Taking in the view, even a pro like Mao Xiang is feeling the despair set in. He knows there is zero chance of a jailbreak here. Zhu Yuanzhang is leading the pack, fuming, but he's gotta admit this prison design is straight up god tier. The center building is packed with guards, backed by crossbows and fire. Weapons mounted on the outer walls. No matter how high level you are, you're not flying your way out of this hellhole. They reach the intake hall in no time. There are slogans everywhere. Reflect on yesterday. Seize today. Look to tomorrow. Confess for leniency. Resist and get wrecked. Empress Ma is shook, staring at the walls. Who knew the Yanmen County Jail was so invested in company culture? Suddenly, an impatient voice cuts through the air. "What are you idiots looking at? Get over here and register your details, now." The warden clicks his pen, barely glancing at them with pure annoyance. The trio uses fake names, and after the paperwork, they're shoved into a room with a plain backdrop. A sketch artist grabs a pencil and finishes their portrait in like 10 seconds. Seeing their own faces on the paper, the Zhu Yuanzhang group is hit with another dose of reality. The drawing is insanely hyper-realistic. It's basically like looking in a mirror. Mao Xiang is internally screaming. If the artists at the Yingtian prefecture were this good, no criminal could ever hide from the commander again. Once the mugs are shot, they're issued the official prison drip. A rookie guard tells them, "Forget your names. Here, you're just the number on your uniform. There's only 3 ways out. The higher-ups clear your name, you finish your sentence, or you die inside." They get escorted into the actual cell block. Passing by the rows, Empress Ma notices the place is suspiciously clean and organized. No straw on the floors, just bunk beds. And weirdly enough, none of the inmates are even trying to scream their innocence. Turns out, there wasn't a single miscarriage of justice in this joint. Zhu Yuanzhang and Empress Ma were honestly feeling pretty good about that. Just then, some chatter drifted over from the next cell. "Yo bro, how much loot did you grind today?" "I hit the labor camp ranch, walked away with 5 coins. Easy money." Hearing that, the whole squad stopped dead in their tracks. Zhu Yuanzhang stared at those 4 prisoners with his eyes wide, totally low-key impressed. Our boy's seen it all. From leading a rebellion to sitting on the imperial throne, what hasn't he experienced? But he's never seen convicts in a dungeon, looking like they've got a bright future ahead of them. Is it possible? Did I actually mess up? This is the first time the Hongwu Emperor has ever doubted his own Sigma Green set. From the bottom of his heart, keep moving. If you want to farm more cash, you'll get your chance tomorrow. At the guard's shout, Mao Xiang, who was standing right there, was ready to go full supernova. But before he could catch a body, he got hit with a lethal look from Empress Ma. Pretty soon, the whole crew got escorted to a special cell at the end of the hall. The 2 cells next to this one are empty, so you and the Spec Ops captain can camp out in there to gather intel. Once those Northern Yuan spies drop their guard, they'll spill their secrets eventually. Once they were inside, Mao Xiaosheng was clearly about to pop a blood vessel from holding back. "My lady, I need to." But before he could finish, Zhu Yunzhang shot him a look that could kill, and Mao Xiang clammed up faster than a speedrunner. Empress Ma just smiled at the 2 of them, gesturing for them to lean in close. If these soldiers find out who we really are, they'll know they're looking at an immediate execution of their entire bloodline. Some of these dudes might just double down and go full rogue. And that would put us in some serious trouble. Zhu Yuanzhang felt a chill run down his spine and grabbed Empress Ma's hand. "My queen, you're the absolute goat. I'm listening to everything you say." Empress Ma gave a gentle smile and whispered, "You were just blinded by your own rage on the way here. That's all. They intentionally set us up in this isolated room. They're definitely trying to eavesdrop on our convo. So we absolutely cannot leak our identities. Meanwhile, you're stuck on the wall like a gecko, while the Spec Ops captain is pressed right against the stone, straining his ears. What are they saying?" The captain looked super awkward. "Can't hear a damn thing. My lord, the wall builders went way too hard on the thickness back in the day." You just shook your head. "No way these Northern Yuan losers are escaping your grasp." You look up at the ventilation shaft, while right next door, Empress Ma is whispering to Zhu Yunzhang, "The security here is too tight. No way we're breaking out. But we've got forced labor duty tomorrow anyway. We can scout the place first, and maybe even get the whole county fed some actual beef. Plus, we can scope out an escape route on the way back." Zhu Yanzhang is totally vibing with this scout and dip plan, thinking he'll just hit up the nearby garrison to mobilize troops and wipe these clowns out. Thinking about that, Mao Xiang can't help but shout, "Don't worry, boss and lady. Those prison guards can't keep me locked down. Us." Before he can finish, Zhu Yuanzhang slams a hand over his mouth and hits him with that iconic death glare. Mao Xiang immediately shuts his trap while you're still hanging on the ladder outside the vent, hearing everything. I love people who think they're built different like that. You look at your special ops captain and give the order, "Tomorrow, have our elite squad disguise themselves as the escort guards. Let's give these Northern Yuan detectives a little surprise." Empress Ma is still sweating it, telling everyone, "No matter what goes down tomorrow, we gotta stay low-key. Sure, this Yi Qing guy messed up by arresting us, But it's mostly because we were asking too many questions. Hearing the Empress, Zhu Yanzhang and Mao Xiang nod along. But this is basically their last request. And the Honghui Emperor is already seeing red. Imagine cuffing the Emperor and forcing him into hard labor. Even Jesus couldn't save this guy at this point. Back at the magistrate's office, you sneeze hard, wondering why that lady back in the cell didn't act like a prisoner at all. You decide to set up a private meeting with her tomorrow. As the first light of dawn hits, a loud, annoying bugle call echoes through the prison. Mao Xiang curses under his breath, thinking, who's holding a funeral at this ungodly hour? Empress Ma wakes up with a start, totally shaken by the noise. Zhu Yuanzhang is still half asleep and speechless, as a guard keeps barking orders. All prisoners have to be dressed and ready in 5 minutes. After the gate check, everyone got their act together and headed straight for the cafeteria. Zhu Yuanzhang was looking around, low-key curious about everything. In his mind, prison food was supposed to be slop served in a wooden bucket, like 1 scoop per person type of vibes. But this place? It's a massive, bright, high-tier cafeteria. Plus, all the prisoners were sitting straight as an arrow, disciplined like an actual army. What really blew Zhu Yuanzhang's mind was seeing white buns and porridge on the table, along with some pickles. Bro, even the rich guys in Jiangnan aren't eating this good, right? Just how many secrets is this Yanmen County hiding? The guard leading them saw them just standing there like NPPC and barked, quit staring, your seats are inside. Suddenly, some noise came from the side. And it turns out some people had already been eating meat since dawn. Jealous much? You want a piece of that? You can always go ask for a portions, bro. Nah. My stomach can't handle that intensity. Hearing that banter, Zhu Yuanzhang and his crew were frowning. Wait, they have even better food than this? Sure enough, the tables up front didn't just have buns. They had thick chunks of meat and vegetable soup. Zhu Yuanzhang and Empress Ma were straight up confused by this bougie breakfast situation. Soon enough, everyone finished their food and speed ran to the assembly line. A guard stepped up to drop the day's quest details. Zhu Yuanzhang and Mao Xiang got assigned to road repair duty, while Empress Ma got sent to the women's labor workshop. Hearing the assignment, Zhu Yuanzhang was triggered. They're splitting me up from my waifu. How am I supposed to escape now? The plan they cooked up yesterday just went down the drain. But Empress Ma kept her cool. She sensed something was off. Someone behind the scenes is definitely pulling the strings here. Seeing Mao Xiang about to lose his cool, she smirked and said, don't trip. I trust this guy Yi Qing isn't gonna make things difficult for me. Zhu Yanzhang looked at his wife's galaxy brain confidence, finally caught the hint, and gave a sharp nod. I'm following the missus's lead, he said, while Mao Xiang was still clueless and tilted. But Zhu Yanzhang pulled him back and whispered, you're still a total noob, kid. This is obviously Yi Qing making moves. He thinks he's the mantis, hunting the cicada. The Empress is playing the role of the Oriole, a Diarol waiting behind him. With that, Zhu Yuanzhang and his man were hauled off to the construction site, while Empress Ma arrived at the factory town. At the town entrance, 5 massive characters spell out Shangguan Industrial Zone. The factories are organized with surgical precision. You can literally hear the machinery buzzing and workers grinding away. The local captain of the guards bows down and asks, my lord, how should we handle this woman? You watch Empress Ma walk away, smirking as you say, our Han people are born with a gift for needlework. Understood, my lord. The captain pays his respects in a rush and dips. Meanwhile, inside the female labor reform workshop, a female supervisor is leading Empress Ma toward the garment assembly line, the seamless flow of the production line. Here leaves the Empress completely shook. Not only has the production speed skyrocketed, but the quality is consistent as hell. Seeing the Empress checking everything out, the supervisor flexes. This new process was developed by our own Lord Yi Chen. He calls it the assembly line. Everyone just does their own tiny part, then hands it off to the next person. Easy mode. After walking the full lap of the factory, Empress Ma can't help but be impressed. This assembly line process is honestly smooth as silk. Then they hit a workstation, draped in red fabric. The supervisor introduces her. This is Miss Shen, coming from the Shen clan, a rich merchant family in Jiangnan. Her father got caught bribing high-ranking officials, and things went south. Eventually, she got shipped off to Yanmen by the imperial court. She's the master of embroidery, currently on finishing duty for the final product. The empress of the Rende dynasty truly loves her people, allowing women across the land to wear a phoenix cloak on their wedding day. So the work she's doing right now is this insanely expensive bridal gown. The supervisor bows toward the palace at Yingqian Prefecture, her eyes glowing with genuine respect. You said you were a master at embroidery, right? All right then, finish up the rest of the stitching, right now. Miss Shen, standing nearby, sees the supervisor bullying this newbie, who looks like a total sweetheart. Even though she doesn't know the full story, she tries to play peacemaker. Supervisor, they're picking up the goods tomorrow morning. Let this lady assist me instead. I'll handle the main embroidery myself. Seeing this, Empress Ma can't help but be low-key impressed. Yi Qing even checks the records of the prisoners sent here with such detail. Time to put these criminals to work, based on their actual rap sheet. I've got to protect this corrupt magistrate, for the sake of the people. Meanwhile, you're spying on Empress Ma, and notice her suddenly freeze up, feeling like something's way off. Is there actually a glitch in the imperial decree? Empress Ma stares at the unfinished phoenix tapestry, while a harsh voice rings in her ears. You heard her. Finish it by sunset, or I'm gonna have to get real nasty with you. The female foreman is serving nothing but cold, hard sass. Why bother being polite to a filthy spy from Beiyuan anyway? Empress Ma just smirks and says, it'll be done before the sun goes down, bet. That flex made all the other ladies come crawling over to catch the show. You see Empress Ma grab the needle, absolutely cooking with that expert needlework. The spectators are watching her technique flow like water, their jaws hitting the floor. You're watching from afar and can't help but be impressed. Are all the barbarian women from Beiyuan this cracked at embroidery now? I'm heading to the construction site to check on the rest of her squad. I don't buy it. There's no way these Beiyuan spies are all this good at playing undercover. Understood, my lord. I'll get the carriage ready right now. The magistrate wasn't kidding. This carriage is pure luxury. Basically, one horse away from being a literal emperor mobile. A bit later, you roll up to the construction site in style. It's already way past noon, and the sun is trying to turn the entire earth into a barbecue. People are literally sweating buckets, just standing still, let alone these prisoners forced into hard labor to fix the roads. Zhu Yanzhang just flops onto the ground, completely ditching his royal dignity. I'm cooked. I literally cannot move an inch. I'm actually done for. Mao chasses over to hand him some herbal water. My lord, please take a break. Let your subordinate handle the manual labor. Even Mao Xiang is drenched in sweat by now. And even though he's a total beast at martial arts, nobody is built to handle this level of manual labor. Imagine being the legendary commander of the Imperial Guard and getting taken out by roadwork in some backwater town. Zhu Yanzhang sees the rage bubbling in his eyes and just shakes his head, saying, traveling, look, I've been treating you like a junior. But with that hot-headed attitude, how are you going to handle real responsibility later on? Hearing that, Mao Xiang quickly straightened his face and checked his ego. Tell me, what have you seen, my lord? Even though these prisoners are working their backs off, none of them seem to be planning an escape. Zhu Yanzhang squinted his eyes, let out a chuckle and said, not totally brainless then. You still remember that corruption case back in Fengyang? Mao Xiang nodded frantically. Of course I remember, my lord. Those crooked officials back then pushed the commoners to the point of rebellion. How could anyone forget that? Exactly. Those trashy corrupt officials were so bad, they forced the commoners to revolt. Yet, all these high-profile criminals here are actually working willingly. This corrupt official Yi Qing is really something else. Mao Xiang heard the boss praising him and couldn't help but think, weren't you the one who ordered Yi Qing to be skinned alive back then? Just then, a prison guard walked over, whip in hand. Take a break later, you two. You think you're here to chat? Get over there and move that asphalt, or my whip is gonna start finding your faces. Zhu Yongjiang and Mao Xiang had to jump up quick, and the two of them walked over to a cart, one at the front and one at the back, hauling a massive barrel of asphalt, stumbling forward, like they were about to collapse. Zhu Yanzhang couldn't help but wonder, while struggling under the weight. Why use such expensive pitch just for paving a road? And on top of that, he's planning to pave the whole stretch from Yanmen County all the way to the pass. Zhu Yanzhang was so deep in his thoughts. He didn't even see the rock under his feet. The heavy barrel tipped to one side. But both our boy and Mao Xiang had those top-tier reflexes, bracing with one hand and turning a disaster into a casual save. You were hiding in the woods watching them, letting out a cold smirk, calling yourself a merchant? Yeah, right. No regular rich merchant has reflexes like that. But someone who can put up with that much abuse isn't just your run-of-the-mill spy either. Just then, Magistrate Wu Yang spoke up beside him. My lord, the intel from our undercover agents is consistent. This guy keeps asking weird questions and keeps eyeing our Yanmen Pass with way too much interest. Hearing the magistrate, you couldn't help but let that smirk turn into a sinister grin. Heh, if this old man Guo has that much energy to burn, then go ahead and send them to the mines tomorrow to dig until they drop. Let's see how long this guy can actually last. Magistrate Wu Yang bowed. Understood, my lord. Consider it done. You're sitting in this fancy carriage. Lowski troop trash-talking in your head. Which historian actually wrote that Zhu Yuanzhang was a hard-working legend? If I ever find that guy, I'm definitely going to catch a body. The death warrant is taking forever to arrive. And they call this dude diligent? The 5 legendary stallions, pulling the carriage, let out a roar and kicked into hyperspeed. Zhu Yuanzhang, currently stuck doing hard labor, heard the noise and immediately clocked that these were top-tier steeds. So he stood up and whipped his head around to get a look, only to see on the main military road 5 massive jet-black warhorses pulling a carriage like they're drifting through the afterlife. Who the hell is this guy? This carriage setup is only 1 horse short of my own royal transport. And the size of that cabin is actually bigger than my own imperial chariot. Mao Xiang, standing nearby, saw it too and stammered. Who the hell has the audacity to ride in a carriage like that? Total fraud. Before he could even finish his sentence, a whip cracked through the air right toward his ears. Mao Xiang's eyes went cold. He didn't even turn around to know a lash was coming. He just threw up a hand like a tiger's claw, caught the whip mid-air, and yanked it with everything he had. The undercover agent, dressed as a guard, went flying straight into dirt. A middle-aged guard with a goatee stepped up to catch the guy, but even he got pushed back several steps. Zhu Yanzhang saw this and couldn't help but tense up. How did a random guard just tank a hit from Mao Xiang? Seeing the beef go down, the other guards swarmed in fast. Even the prisoners working nearby huddled up, squatting down and covering their heads like the NPCs they are. And in a blink, Zhu Yanzhang and Mao Xiang were surrounded by 3 layers of angry guards. Harshest shouting started echoing from every direction. At this moment, Zhu Yanzhang didn't doubt it for a second. If he didn't play along, right now, he wasn't even going to wait for the guards. Those heavy-hitting inmates would probably jump him with shovels just for the clout. But let's be real. Who does this guy Zhu Yanzhang think he is? It's the Hongwu Emperor, stepping out of a literal mountain of corpses, glaring and barking. Shut your mouth. The chaotic noise was instantly silenced, and even the undercover special ops guards felt the sheer pressure. In a split second, the loud environment went dead silent. Seeing he had the crowd's attention, Zhu Yanzhang adjusted his rags like a dragon robe, acting like he's just some loyal citizen, claiming that he only saw the vibe of that carriage, which looked way more expensive than the Emperor's own ride, so he couldn't help but roast them, leading to a massive misunderstanding. The crowd heard that and immediately lost their hype. I thought it was something actually interesting. Imagine being a convict and still trying to play the main character. What a total fanboy of the Emperor. For real, though. The crowd immediately got bored and dipped. The captain of the Special Forces watched this, and for the first time, he started questioning his own intel. Could we have actually bagged the wrong guy? Like, how could a Bei Yuanspi be a massive Zhu Yuanzhang simp? I need to report this to the boss ASAP. While you sit in that luxury carriage, listening to the captain's internal monologue, instantly realizing this guy is definitely a big fish. But identifying who it is? That's the real struggle. Even Wang Baobao of Beiyuan doesn't have this kind of main character energy. So maybe he actually isn't a spy after all. But the border situation is absolutely cooked right now. Otherwise, we wouldn't be rushing these military roads. In these sketchy times, you gotta take every weird situation seriously. Since we can't figure it out, let's just keep this big fish in the labor camp for a bit longer. Meanwhile, Zhu Yanzhang watched the carriage drive off, thinking to himself, Yi Qing, you absolute menace. I've got all this written down. Flaunting this much with stealth and stealing the people's hearts? You trying to start a coup? Mao Xiang, having 0 brain cells, says, boss, you ordering the hit on Yi Qing back then was truly 500 IQ. Right. Because if he was actually trying to rebel, why would he be begging to be executed? Zhuanzhang couldn't even process the stupidity. He just glared. And Mao, what the hell is wrong with me? If this were back at the palace, I'd be dead and buried by now. Mao Qiang shuddered at the thought. Meanwhile, inside the textile workshop, a local rich girl couldn't stop fangirling over the manager. This Hefei wedding dress is straight up drip. The embroidery craftsmanship is literally palace tier. I seriously owe you guys big time. The manager kept acting humble, while side-eyeing Empress Ma in the background, thinking to herself that she needed to report this to Lord Yi ASAP. Is she even a spy from Northern Yuan? She's clearly some high-class noble lady from the capital. The rich girl finally bowed out and left. As she walked, she kept thanking Empress Ma for letting a commoner wear the phoenix crown and veil. Little did she know, the golden phoenix on her dress was hand-stitched by the Empress herself. Yi Chen had been lurking and watching this whole scene from afar, now almost certain this woman was Han, and definitely not from some random peasant family. But he had no clue why she was rolling with Northern Yuan spies. Wu Yang, the county magistrate, stepped up and suggested, My lord, I think we should keep eavesdropping tonight to see what kind of intel they're leaking. No point in rushing the decision until we know more. Yi Chen gave a solid nod of approval. Can't be too careful when the world is going to hell. In a handbasket, I've dragged the girl to see every doctor in town. Afterwards, he and the magistrate headed out to inspect the garrison troops. As the sun set, Yanmen Pass lit up with torches, looking like a massive beast from afar. A crouching dragon, guarding the peace of the families behind it. He climbed the ramparts, double-checking every piece of gear. From weapons and armor to meds and rations, he was auditing everything like a total sweat. Even though he's low-key trying to get back to the modern world, as long as he's in the Ming dynasty, he won't let Northern Yuan slaughter the commoners. After the inspection, he stood at the highest point of the city wall, looking out at this ancient battle-scared pass. Bro couldn't help but belt out a heroic chant, reminiscing about General Li Mu, who led him through the heat of battle, right on this very soil, telling him to get out of there fast. Thinking back to General Li Guang, who led him into the slaughter of the Xiongnu, right here, he couldn't help but recall the Tang dynasty garrison that once held this pass, naming it Yanmen Pass. He was the first commander to hold this line, but now our ties are severed across 9 lifetimes of reincarnation. Every scene felt like it happened yesterday, so he started reciting the Yanmen Taisho Xing by Li He. Wu Yang and the current commander of Yanmen Pass stood behind him, listening to that powerful yet melancholic chant, feeling like they were witnessing thousands of years of Huaxia's turbulent history. This poem felt like it was plucked straight from Yi's own memories. A moment later, Yu gave the commander a few orders and turned to leave. Wu Yang followed, realizing you weren't heading back to the magistrate's office, but straight to a crumbling temple. You personally set out the offerings in front of the statue of General Li Mu. Then you wiped the dust off the statues, while Wu Yang just stood back, not daring to help. Because for the last 3 years, Master Yi has never allowed anyone to assist with this. What Wu Yang really couldn't wrap his head around was why the look in Master Yi's eyes wasn't just ancestral respect, but felt like a deep, nostalgic bond between brothers in arms. I mean, they're separated by over 500 years of history, bro. While Wu Yang was zoning out, you turned around and said, Those 3 should be back in the jail cell by now. Go eavesdrop on them and tell me everything they say. Wu Yang bowed respectfully and dipped out, looking back at the sorrowful statue. General, your subordinate has come to visit you again. Back in the Han and Tang dynasties, I visited before every campaign, but every single time I treated it like my last. Because I never knew if I'd make it back alive from the front lines, let alone if I'd get another chance in my next life to stand here. I never thought my 10 cycles of reincarnation would start at Yanmen Pass and end right back here. Saying this, you couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. Looking at the situation, the Northern Yuan invasion won't happen faster than Zhu Yuanzhang's order to execute me. So, there's no way I'm getting a chance to command the defense of Yanmen Pass again. Old General, let me clean up this temple one last time. Next time I visit, I might even bring you some wine to taste. Then he grabbed the broom and rags, starting to carefully sweep the place clean. Meanwhile, Wu Yang just pulled up to the Yanmen prison. Empress Ma took one look at Zhu Yuanzhang and Mao Xiang getting dragged back, and honestly couldn't believe her own eyes. She scrambled to ask, "Hubby, weren't you supposed to be out there doing hard labor on the road crew? How'd you end up looking like a piece of burnt toast?" Zhu Yuanzhang gritted his teeth, fuming. "Don't even get me started. I finally figured it out. How these convicts are getting fed meat while doing hard labor. I was literally worked to the bone at that Yanmen work site. I'm definitely settling this debt with Ye Qing." Empress Ma's heart broke. "Hubby, quick, lie down. Let me rub those sore muscles for you." In no time, Zhu Yanzhang was so relaxed, he was basically fast asleep. As she massaged him, Empress Ma started replaying everything she saw and heard today. The ladies at the workshop were all singing praises for Magistrate. On top of that, the industrial zone Yi Qing set up and his assembly line production model have been cranking out crazy efficiency while keeping the quality top tier. This Yi Qing guy is seriously a governance genius. She really wanted to keep such a talented, corrupt official around for the Ming Empire and the commoners. But since this isn't the imperial palace, she couldn't just boss everyone around, like Empress Ma usually does. Plus, worried about eavesdroppers, she shoots his virgins. "Hubby, feeling better?" Zhuanzhang kept his eyes closed, soaking it in. "Your hands are the best in the world. No one comes close." Empress Ma acted a bit coy. "But hubby, I was embroidering all day too. My arms are absolutely fried." "I'm exhausted." Zhu Yunzhang scrambled to sit up. "Feeling guilty, my queen. I was so caught up in being comfy I completely forgot. Come here. Let me return the favor and give you a massage. Changba, you really are the sweetest." Zhu Yuanzhang chuckled, giving her a gentle rub down. A little while later, Empress Ma spoke up. "Hubby, guess what I saw today? Wasn't it just a bunch of women embroidering?" "It wasn't just that, actually. I saw that at the garment factory, Magistrate Yi designed, everyone just needs to finish their specific task and pass it to the next guy in line, keeping that rhythm going. So we save time while the output quality goes through the roof. This town is basically the regional hub for all the major workshops." As Empress Ma went into more detail, Zhu Yunzhang's face went from confused to straight up shook, his brain working overtime to calculate the implications. If he applied these techniques to the Ministry of Works and the weapon foundries, the military might of Great Ming would. But before he could finish his thought, Mao Xiang, standing right next to him, was equally mind-blown, shouting out in pure excitement, "My lord, if we used these methods," he got hit with a glare so cold, it could freeze a cultivation core. Mao Xiang slammed his mouth shut instantly, while he muttered. Finally, someone said something actually useful. Wu Yang, the local magistrate, who was busy eavesdropping through the prison vent, had his legs feeling like jelly from standing on a ladder for so long, so he signaled his crew to bounce quietly. He grabbed his horse and headed for the county office, brain deep in thought. Who the hell are these guys? Anyway, that vibe is feeling real sketchy. Things are about to get messy. Wu Yang hopped on his horse and galloped away, like he was fleeing a boss fight. Meanwhile, back at the luxurious office, he was staring at the calendar, tearing off a page with a look of pure disappointment. Another day survived, and the death warrant from the emperor still hadn't arrived. Since he couldn't figure it out, he stopped caring, turning around to order his personal maid to prep a hot bath. "I need a soak," he said, and the maid's eyes lit up, the group of them heading toward a bougie private bathhouse. Just then, Wu Yang pulled up to the gate of the county office. Jumping off his horse and sprinting inside, Magistrate Wu Lord Yi is probably catching some Z's right now, the guard said, having never seen the guy so rattled. Even if he was in the middle of his wedding night, he better wake his ass up. Wu Yang was sweating buckets at this point, storming through the gates and booking it toward the back quarters. A minute later, he hit the bathroom door, panting like crazy. My lord, you done washing yet? I've got an urgent situation that can't wait. The splashing water inside suddenly went dead silent. And real quick, clad only in a silk robe, he swung the door open, staring Wu Yang down and saying with a deadly serious tone, "You better have a world-ending reason for interrupting me." Wu Yang gave a nervous laugh. Lord, you remember that memorial you sent up back in February? What exactly did you write in that thing? Hearing that, his expression turned stone-cold serious. Didn't he tell Wu Yang to go eavesdrop on those Northern Yuan spies all afternoon? Why is this dude showing up in the middle of the night, bugging him about a memorial? Back then, after I finished writing it myself, I sealed it up and handed it to the messenger. Wu Yang had no clue what was actually in the report. Could it be? We're cooked? My heart dropped and my gaze toward Wu Yang turned heavy as lead. You mean those spies who were checking out our military intel and sniffing around our industrial sites? They came from Ying Tianfu? Then they're most likely. Wu Yang continued, with a face full of pure stress. Exactly, my lord. We are in some serious trouble now. Those guards posing as their servants are absolute monsters in combat, probably sent by the Imperial Guard. We straight up arrested the Imperial envoy, thinking they were spies, tossed them in jail, and even forced them to work as labor slaves on the construction site. This is basically speedrunning our own death. Hearing that, I let out a deep sigh. Man, I really fumbled the bag on this one. No wonder the Imperial decree to execute me still hasn't arrived. It's probably because that line in my report about making 1,000,000 taels in 3 years raised some red flags. I mean, in everyone's eyes, Yanmen County is just a broke backwater border town. How could anyone embezzle 1,000,000 taels in 3 years? History books say Wenjiang hates plus corrupt officials with a burning passion. So when he sees that report, he's definitely going to go full berserk. But the Zhu Yuanzhang here is a real person with real emotions. So there are way too many wild cards at play. The whole game I'm playing is banking on what moods Zhu Yuanzhang is in when he reads my report. My lord, why are you zoning out? What on earth did you write in that report? Wu Yang is legit losing his mind. And I'm staring at him like, what else could I write? Just some humble bragging disguised as self-deprecation. Just like with everyone else, I can't let Wu Yang know the real deal. My lord, if that's the case, I reckon things aren't completely unsalvageable yet. Wu Yang's voice turned ice cold. What are you planning to do? I hurriedly asked. Wu Yang immediately did a throat-slashing gesture. Go big or go home. Finish the job. If these guys are actually spies from the Northern Plains, then just go ahead and make them disappear permanently. I'll personally scrub their entry records from the city's archives, making sure it's airtight so that even the Imperial Court won't find a single shred of evidence. My lord, this is the only way to protect your bright future, Wu Yang said with a straight face, looking like he was ready to catch a body. Hearing that, between feeling relieved and low-key sweating. You look at Wu Yang differently now. If this dude kills Imperial inspectors, how the hell am I supposed to get back home? There's no AC here, and definitely no floor heating. I need to survive. Your stare had Wu Yang shivering, and he couldn't help but ask, My lord, did your humble servant overlook something in the plan? Is this really what I taught you? I always told you that even greed has its boundaries. When did I ever say you should go around slaughtering innocents? Wu Yang looked miserable and hesitated, saying, Then, my lord, what should we actually do? You gave him a sly grin, telling him, You've got plenty of ways to slap these Imperial inspectors in the face, while still making them smile and thank you for it. Thank you. Wu Yang's eyes went wide in pure disbelief, but then he remembered that since Yi came to Yanmen County, nothing has been impossible for this guy. So he quickly bowed, saying, Your humble servant knows he was wrong. I shouldn't have had such an extreme mindset. Seeing Wu Yang's genuine apology, you finally relaxed. Can't have him messing up your ticket back to the modern world. All right. Go write a 1,000-word essay on your self-reflection. I want to see it on my desk by tomorrow morning. Wu Yang bowed immediately, head low, and said, I know I messed up. I'm heading out to write it right now. He basically bolted out of the room like his life depended on it. Watching Wu Yang leave, you fell deep into your own thoughts. If this group of people really turns out to be Imperial inspectors, then I might as well offend them until they're dead. Early the next morning, the first ray of sunlight poked through the tall, narrow window, hitting the faces of Zhu Yuanzhang and Empress Ma, right on cue. A piercing trumpet blast rang out through the prison, making the inmates' eardrums wakey wakey. Zhu Yuanzhang and his crew hear the prison guards roar, finish their breakfast in a rush, and sprint to the courtyard within the minute. After grabbing their prison labor assignments, Zhu Yuanzhang and the boys hit the cafeteria, only to get intercepted by the special ops captain, dressed as a guard. You lot are eating in that room today, he says, pointing a finger at a private dining hall. Zhu Yuanzhang and the squad walk over and are absolutely shook by what they see. The table is stacked with a dozen massive basins, each one loaded with chunks of meat, the size of a grown man's fist, plus a mountain of steamed buns on the side. Mao Xishi's internally losing his mind, thinking these prisoners are eating better than the emperor back at the palace. But he knows better than to run his mouth this time. They spent yesterday fixing roads, and today the grind gets even harder. Looks like it's time to hit the mines. Before they know it, the meal break is over. Everyone gathers in the yard, and a guard starts barking out assignments. Prisoner 88 and his crew, you're on duty at the Da Tai Shan Iron Mine, Garrison Camp. Hearing that name, Empress Ma feels her heart skip a beat. Beside her, Zhu Yuanzhang's eyes go stone cold. He's ready to play the long game, going undercover to the iron mine, to see what kind of scheme this Yi Qing is really pulling. If he isn't trying to stage a coup, why is he mining iron on his own terms? And if he is trying to revolt, why the hell did he petition for his own execution? That right there is the main plot hole in this whole situation. Otherwise, why would the mighty Hongwu Emperor be stuck here, playing these stupid games? Hey, Big Sis Ma, why are you just showing up now? The female supervisor's attitude has done a total 180 compared to yesterday. Hurry up and come with me. Everyone's waiting on you. Outside the garment workshop, a massive line of carriages is already loaded up and ready to roll. Empress Ma is floored, asking, "It's that much?" Miss Shen chimes in with a smile. Yep. The quality of the fabric is super consistent. The craftsmanship is top tier. And the merchants are going absolutely crazy for it. Even the ones from the furthest coastal regions are fighting to stock up. But won't this cause a market crash for the other sellers? Empress Ma asks, clearly a bit worried about the economy. Miss Shen quickly explains, not at all. It seems Lord Yi sent his scouts out across the whole country ages ago to do the research. Something they call market research. Basically capping production to a third of the market demand. Every year, Empress Ma let out a relieved laugh and nodded. Looks like this Lord Yi Chen really is a mastermind when it comes to business. A merchant with a conscience, huh? Miss Shen quickly chimed in. Conscience, sure, but only for the Great Ming. What do you think that means? Empress Ma was hooked. So Miss Shen gave a mysterious grin and led her to a zone labeled export-only goods. Stacks of crates were piled up everywhere. Empress Ma reached out to touch one, shocked. Something's off here. The style looks decent, but it'll fall apart in under 3 years. Exactly. Why else would we dump this trash on the barbarians? Miss Shen just smirked and kept her mouth shut. Empress Ma sighed internally, realizing this Yi Qing guy is straight up devious. But if the Great Ming could actually put a brain like that to use, the commoners would be set for life. At the same time, she couldn't help but worry about Zhu Yuanzhang rotting away in those iron mines. If the big guy suddenly loses his temper, the damage would be beyond repair. By now, Miss Shen felt comfortable enough to drop the formalities. Teasing, Big Sis Ma, you're a convict in labor camp. Yet, you're still out here sweating over national affairs? Empress Ma laughed it off before turning dead serious. The great Song Dynasty poet Liu Yu once said, though my status is low, I never forget to worry for the country. Miss Shen, coming from a wealthy background, felt a wave of genuine respect, while Yu, watching from the shadows, just turned and walked away. Wu Yang scrambled to follow right behind you. Neither of you said a word, but the answer was clear as day. This group is definitely the real deal, sent by the emperor himself. Back at the luxury carriage. You gave the command. We're heading to the weapon factory now. You send someone to the mines to protect our lord, Zhu Yuanzhang. Follow the ore convoy straight to the armory. On it, my lord. Wu Yang suddenly realized something was wrong and blurted out, if the royal inspector finds out about this, that we've been illegally mining iron and forging armor and weapons, won't the emperor find out, too? You glared at Wu Yang, half annoyed and half amused. Why does this guy keep trying to stop you from heading home? Look, I'm being dead serious. Just do exactly what I said and get moving. Wu Yang saw that the boss was dead set on this, so he just sighed and went to handle the logistics. Meanwhile, deep in the Niang iron mine, Zhu Yuanzhang was sweating bullets, swinging his axe until sparks were flying off the rock face. Suddenly, the voice of the guard captain echoed through the cavern. Number 88. Drop the pickaxe. You and your squad are moving this ore haul to the weapons factory. Zhu Yuanzhang felt like he'd finally caught a break, so he and Mao Xiang tossed their tools aside and gathered the crew. Peering toward Yanmen County, Zhu Yuanzhang muttered. So, this Xing really was using the mine to sneakily mass-produce weapons. He's completely betrayed my sister's trust, he thought, before leading Mao Xiang and his squad to intercept the transport convoy. The guards from the commandant's office tossed the ore onto the carts, and the squad moved out. A while later, the group hit a mountain pass. Zhu Yuanzhang, Mao Xiang, and a dozen guards climbed the ridge, getting a literal bird's-eye view of the massive weapons factory below. Down in a massive valley tucked between the mountains, on the flat ground by a wide river, there were 12 gigantic palace-like structures sitting there. Surrounded by smaller 5-story towers and protected by high walls, the place looked like a fortress. The absolute audacity of this guy. Zhu Yuanzhang couldn't help but curse under his breath. He actually dared to build this in such a hidden, natural bunker. Building a factory this size? Good thing I found out now. If I'd waited a few more years, the damage would be irreparable. The ore convoy reached the gates, and as they stopped for inspection, a soldier in silver armor stepped up to block their path. The armor was pristine, with every single plate being the exact same size, uniform thickness, and polished to a mirror finish that looked insane. Having a military background, the group knew instantly that this level of craftsmanship was light years ahead of anything the Imperial Armory could ever produce. What are you staring at? Get that ore to the smelting furnace over there. Move it! Zhu Yuanzhang's crew scrambled to unload the goods while he stood back, scoping out the whole operation. He'd already snuck into the production floor earlier, meticulously checking every detail of how they were manufacturing, especially the setup where the iron furnace and the smelting pot were connected. He watched in total silence as the molten iron poured directly from the furnace into the smelting pot. Right after, a blacksmith grabbed a willow sticks and stirred the mixture like a pro. Zhu Yuanzhang saw his chance. He quickly adopted a humble tone to ask, "Master, why are you stirring the inside with a wooden stick?" The blacksmith didn't even turn around and immediately replied, "You don't get it, kid. Back in the day, turning iron into steel meant boring cast iron and heating soft iron to absorb carbon. That method was a massive drain on manpower, money, and resources. But this technique Lord Yichen taught us can make the carbon in molten cast iron oxidize instantly, even though we have no clue what oxidize actually means. This method straight up produces steel. Plus, this entire assembly line designed by Lord Yichen. Look, raw iron ore goes in one end and comes out the other. Boom, it's legit steel." Finishing his sentence, the master blacksmith chuckled and turned around. But the moment he saw the guy behind him, wearing imperial purple, his face went pale. Meanwhile, Zhu Yuanzhang was already locked in, and, seeing the blacksmith stop mid-sentence, he immediately pressed for more. "Master, keep going, keep explaining," realizing he'd been teaching a secret to the wrong guy. The blacksmith went from triggered to embarrassed. "I should smack you twice. Now get lost before I lose it." Zhu Yuanzhang held back a triggered Mao Xiang and led him away, continuing their tour. Afterward, the group checked out the workshop, producing swords, spears, and crossbows. The more Zhu Yuanzhang watched, the more his ambition flared up. itching to implement these techs and gear directly into his own Ministry of War and Ministry of Works. He calculated internally. Yanmen Pass currently has 2 garrisons stationed there. Plus, there's 1 garrison of farming troops stationed at both Nian and Yangmingbao Town. Even if Yiqing has full control over these units, those 4 garrisons combined only total 22,400 troops. And no matter how cracked their gear might be, if Zhu Yanzhang decides he wants to, he can wipe them off the map and turn them into dust at any second. But the line in the sand is that Yiqing cannot be secretly mass-producing firearms. That is the hard limit for Zhu Yuanzhang. If he crosses that, not even a god could save his neck. But right then, a massive explosion rocked the place. A wave of scorching heat swept across the ground. Dust and debris were instantly blasted into the air, and their entire carriage was shaking like crazy. Zhu Yanzhang stared blankly at the pillar of black smoke rising in the distance, took a moment to collect his thoughts, then started cursing like a maniac. These guys are seriously bold, actually trying to manufacture firearms behind my back. Zhu Yuanzhang immediately dragged Mao Xiang and his crew, sprinting toward the explosion site. Along the way, he ditched his royal robe, trying to keep things low-key. The emperor's rage was peaking, and the massive blast had already drawn everyone in the factory to the scene. Meanwhile, you were busy leading Wu Yang to the test range. It's the grand unveiling of the first batch of cannons. Please, for the love of God, don't let anything blow up in our faces. You and Wu Yang quickly scrambled up to a high vantage point, overlooking the field. On the massive field, 90 cannons were lined up, 30 across, 3 deep, all locked at max elevation. Aiming at the 2 kilometers long empty field, the front row loaded up while the middle row prepped to fire. Bang Weichang wasn't there, but by the artillery line, a signaler was waving red and blue flags like a pro. As he signaled the command, 30 gunners in the second row lit their fuses simultaneously. A thunderous roar shook the earth as the shells painted fiery parabolas across the sky, landing dead center on the targets marked out in white lime. Deafening explosions erupted one after another, with the shockwave sweeping through the entire test site. Dust filled the air in an instant, and the surrounding walls crumbled under the force of the blasts. Holy crap, that power is absolutely insane. The master craftsmen from the melee weapons department were floored, gasping in pure disbelief. My God, the cannons the Imperial Court issued us look like literal toothpicks compared to these monsters. Need I say more? These were designed by Lord Yi himself for the Yanmen garrison. In the crowd, Zhu Yanzhang watched it all, his cold eyes giving away absolutely nothing. Power like this is enough to flip the script on any battlefield. These cannons aren't just for the border. They could easily be turned on the Emperor's throne too. You were standing on the platform, flashing a satisfied grin. The first batch is a total success. Wu Yang, deck these out in reds tomorrow and officially hand them over to the Yanmen garrison. Wu Yang beamed, saying, "Yes, sir. With these, there's no way the Northern Yuan is breaking through Yanmen Pass." Exactly, even if I'm not around anymore. With this kind of hardware, backing them up, even a pig could hold the line until the Imperial reinforcements show up. You couldn't help but think to yourself, might as well release those innocent folks tomorrow. Pay them the labor fee for the renovation work. Exactly 250 coins, not a penny more or less. And remember, keep the attitude as trashy as possible. 2-0 finished barking orders at Wu Yang and headed for the carriage, leaving Wu Yang completely stunned by this brain-dead command. Isn't this just begging to get on the Imperial envoy's bad side? Is the boss playing some 4D chess move by playing hard to get? Wu Yang stood there trying to wrap his head around this insanity. Meanwhile, 2-0 sat in the carriage back, only focused on one thing, and that was making sure these Imperial envoys get the hell out of here, so they can report back. Because that's the only way to fast-track his legendary mission to get himself killed. Zhu Yunzhang and his crew had just returned to the mineral transport caravan. Old Liu, who was leading the pack, saw them walk up, grabbed Zhu Yuanzhang, and whispered like he was dropping a state secret. "Little bro, you know the name of that new-gen cannon Yi Chen cooked up?" Zhu Yunzhang shook his head, playing dumb. "I did some digging. It's called the Hongwu cannon. Lord Yi is seriously the ultimate patriot." "Wait, Yi Qing manufacturing firearms privately is straight up treason, bro. Zhu Yuanzhang couldn't help but ask the obvious question. Is he really that loyal? Old Lu's face started to twitch with annoyance. If it wasn't for the fact that this guy had the vibes of a fellow peasant, he wouldn't waste his time on a brainwashed emperor simp like him. So he spat back, our Lord Yi already laid it out. Ruling with peace and protecting the borders with military might, without meddling in politics, is his entire manifesto. He's literally burning his own cash to upgrade the emperor's broke army. Every single one of these cannons is going straight to the garrison at Yanmen. If that's the case, why isn't this Yi guy just handing the tech over to the imperial court? Zhu Yuanzhang's expression softened, but he was still suspicious of Yi Qing's real motives. Beats me. Old Lu pondered for a sec, then shrugged. Maybe he's just afraid the emperor will dispose of him once he's no longer useful. You're just a disgraced convict, so quit worrying about stuff. Zhu Yuanzhang just swallowed his pride. But hearing that, his rage went from 0 to 100 real quick, though he decided not to waste his breath on this peasant any longer. He was busy wondering how to even rank a guy like Yi Qing, a dude who has the founding emperor of the Ming dynasty. Feeling low-key shook. So, back to the scene that night. You head straight to the county office, walk up to a cabinet, and pull out a massive stack of documents, wrapping them up tight in waterproof cowhide to keep things pristine, and stuffing them into the deepest corner of the shelf. This was your ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card for your subordinates. As long as the confiscation squad hands this paperwork over to Zhu Yuanzhang, your boys will be able to scrub their names clean and walk away without a scratch. Then you go back to the calendar you've been using to count down to your own execution, burn it, and hang a new one for the next 60 days. Just another 60-day countdown until the end. Once the imperial envoy scrams tomorrow to report back to the emperor, this whole situation is basically a done deal. The jailer takes Zhu Yuanzhang and the crew back to the cells, dropping a hint. Sleep tight, tomorrow's gonna be a big day. Seeing Empress Ma is back, Zhu Yuanzhang rushes over to spill all the tea about today. My queen. What do you think that jailer meant by good news? Empress Ma just smirks while kneading his shoulders. What else could it be? 9 times out of 10, they realized, we aren't Northern Yuan spies and are finally letting us go. Zhu Yuanzhang turns around, looking dead serious. And what makes you so sure? It's simple. Why would an armory let a suspected Northern Yuan spy walk in, let alone give them a full tour? This move basically proves they've already pegged us as imperial officials. Zhu Yuanzhang's eyes go wide, but she doubles down. My opinion stands. This Yi Qing is absolutely not plotting a rebellion. Zhu Yuanzhang sees the pleading look in her eyes. She really wants to protect this talented, corrupt official. Reflecting on his trip to Yanmen, he has to admit he's actually learned a ton. Yi Qing is low-key changing how Zhu Yuanzhang thinks. Tomorrow, once we're out, we're finding Yi Qing to squash this imperial envoy misunderstanding. We'll pose as merchants to get close and deal with him directly, so His Majesty can get the full scoop on this guy. At that point, whether he gets iced or put to work is up to the emperor to decide. Zhu Yuanzhang heard this, gripped Empress Ma's hand, and couldn't help but get emotional. Since the dawn of time, my dear, you really are the wisest queen to ever exist. The next morning, the ground was hit by the first rays of sunlight, accompanied by a trumpet blast so loud, it felt like his eardrums were about to explode. A prison guard walked up to Zhu Yuanzhang and his crew, whipped out an official scroll, and started running his mouth. It's been officially investigated that Guo Ri, Ma Ying, Mao Cheng, and the rest aren't Northern Yuan's spies, so their status has been restored, and they are released immediately. No strings attached. The group headed to the main hall to reclaim their drip and personal items. Empress Ma double-checked her bag just to be safe. The jewels and silver were all still there. Not even a single silk handkerchief was missing, and she couldn't help but praise Yi Qing's management skills once again. My lord, is the prison run by this corrupt official actually cleaner than the ones in Yingtian Prefecture? Even though he'd never been to the Celestial Prison, he knew it was usually a total dumpster fire, so he said, we're finally out. Don't kill the vibe. With that, the group followed the guard to the payout desk. The guard behind the counter saw them and immediately barked, Names? Zhu Yanzhang frowned and hit him with that cold stare. Guo Ri. The guard took one look at them, nodded, and started crunching the numbers faster than a calculator. Your wages for the forced labor stint come out to 250 coins. The guard strung the coins up with a red string and tossed them over. Zhu Yuanzhang weighed the string of cash in his hand, then looked at his dozen or so men. That averages out to just a few pennies per person per day. Zhu Yanzhang finally snapped, slamming the string of coins onto the counter. What the hell? Who even wants your chump change? You guys throw people in jail without checking the facts, treating the law like it's your personal plaything. Take me to see your Lord Yi right now. He better have a damn good explanation for me. He was ready to find Yi Qing and grill him on why he was breaking every law in the book. The two guards, who were actually undercover agents, saw this imperial envoy throwing a fit and started low-key celebrating. This is exactly the reaction Lord Yi wanted. So one of the guards stood up and said, "You really want to see Lord Yi? Just look at you. Clowns acting all twitchy and suspicious. The moment you stepped into the city, if the guards don't target you for acting like total NPCs, then who else? Get lost." But just as Zhu Wanzhang tried to clap back, Empress Ma held him off. This officer is right. We were just being nosy totally. Our bad for the misunderstanding. We're bouncing right now. She didn't waste a second, dragging Zhu Yuanzhang away before he could lose his head. Meanwhile, at the county office, you were locked in, staring intensely at the map in front of you. You called 5 scouts over to deliver some urgent orders. They showed up in no time, ready to receive their mission. Tell General Li of the Yanmen Left Guard to stay frosty. He needs to be combat ready and on high alert at all times. Make sure those troops master the new Hongwu cannons immediately. Also, notifies General Chen at Yangming and General Wang at Niming to get their act together. The strategic supplies at Yanmen are with them. They need to beef up defenses and ramp up the training grind. Furthermore, order the Yanmen Armory to churn out 22,400 sets of armor and weapons for our boys. And don't forget the horse armor for the cavalry. It has to be finished by the 15th of the 8th month. I want every single piece delivered on time and top-tier quality. No excuses. But Lord Yi, our armory has been operational for less than 4 months. Half the workers are still amateurs, who haven't mastered the craft yet. Plus, the heat in Yanmen during the 6th month is absolutely lethal. The guys running the furnaces are probably going to tap out before they even get started. Wu Yang stood there looking stressed, while you kept your eyes glued to the northern border on the map. Not happening, we're hitting that deadline. If we wait until winter hits, those northern tribes led by Wang Baobao are gonna launch a full-scale invasion with an army of at least 300,000 strong. By then, our Yanmen garrison won't stand a chance against that kind of heat. You turned to face Wu Yang, eyes cold, and barked. Tell those craftsmen, they aren't just working for me, they're fighting for their own families. Once summer hits, triple the pay for every single worker. That includes the convicts working the mines. Treat them the same. I'll guarantee they get all the chilled fruit drinks they can handle. Give them all the heat relief medicine they need, and divert the entire ice factory's output to them first. If that's still not enough, buy up all the ice in the city, including my own personal stock, and ship it to them. Bottom line, I want the entire Yanmen garrison fully equipped and geared up. Seeing the big boss so serious, Wu Yang straightened his back and replied, "Understood. My lord, I'll take this task to the grave if I have to." Just then, Zhu Yuanzhang and his squad finally rolled up to the magistrate's office gate. As they stood there staring at the massive entrance, Empress Ma frowned and muttered, "The audacity of these dogs. Is this really a county magistrate's office? Or a royal palace?" Zhu Yuanzhang's eyes went bloodshot in a split second. The 2 giant stone lions at the entrance were even bigger than the ones at the capital's royal palace. To him, they looked like nothing more than the guard dogs of a local fraud. Right in the middle stood double doors made of rosewood and studded with gold nails. You could tell just by looking that it cost a fortune. Above the gate hung a gold-plated plaque reading, Yanmen County Magistrate Office. A bunch of guards stood at the gate, decked out in high-end, custom-made tactical gear. They were wearing ornate, gold-plated light armor and carrying blades that looked like premium top-tier loot. This equipment didn't even lose to the Imperial Guard, Back at the capital, imagine a measly 7th-grade magistrate, building a spot fancier than a prince's mansion. If this guy were a city prefect, would he try to build an entire imperial palace? Or what? Meanwhile, in the study, Wu Yang was grinding away in the boss chair, while you were just chilling in the guest seat, munching on grapes. The plan was to let Wu Yang take over for the heavy lifting, so he could handle the shop on his own. Even if you dipped back to the modern world, this Yanmen County wouldn't fall into total trash status. Honestly, it looks like he's doing a pretty crack job so far. A gate guard walked in and reported, "My lord, here's the wealth registries from the latest group of merchants." You barely glanced at the list and said, "Not meeting anyone. Bring in the next group." The guard nodded and scrambled out the back door. He was confused as hell. Aren't these merchants the fat wallets that Yi Darren loves to squeeze the most? Why is he dodging everyone today? He couldn't wrap his head around it. But he stopped overthinking it, reached the door, and just shouted, "Yi Darren isn't seeing anyone." The next group started whining. "Why are you chasing away everyone ahead of us? We've got piles of shiny silver right here. Is this Yi Qing just being lazy?" Empress Ma saw Chongba constantly grumbling, realizing he was already losing his patience. She stepped up and whispered, "Chongba, if sitting is boring you, why don't you stand up and stretch?" Zhu Yuanzhang just replied with a cold look. "This local magistrate is acting way more arrogant than me, the actual emperor. He won't even meet me, because I didn't bring enough cash. I might not have brought much silver, but I sure as hell brought enough troops to level this place." Empress Ma just gave a gentle smirk, saying Liu Bei had to visit Zhuge Liang's shack 3 times just to get a meeting, and history calls him a genius. But after today, not even Liu Bei can touch your majesty's ego. You think Liu Bei is even on my level? That guy was a total nobody when he went crawling to Zhuge, but I'm the literal emperor, the founder of the Great Ming. Hearing that, Empress Ma couldn't help but stress out. If Yi Qing actually ghosts them this time, she knows there's no way she can stop a bloodthirsty tyrant like Zhu Yuanzhang from going nuclear. Just then, Zhu Yuanzhang saw the guard step out, so he stepped up to play it cool. "Look, we're technically hometown homies. And let's just say my pockets are deep. Tell your master, yeah, I'm here." The guard frowned, clearly feeling the heat, and said, "Look, Mr. Go, I'll definitely put in a good word for you, but that's honestly all I can do. I don't know what's gotten into Master Yi lately. Ever since that day, he literally lost interest in making bank. He's obsessed with military strategy with Master Wu, going on about how we're definitely throwing hands with Northern Yuan by the end of the year." Oh crap! The guard realized he just leaked top-secret intel and sprinted back inside like his life depended on it. Zhu Yanzhang watched him retreat, his gaze turning sharp enough to cut glass. A moment later, the guard grabbed the 10 financial certificates and scurried back into the study. "Master, here's the financial proof for this batch. Take a look." You took the list and gave it a lazy, performative glance. "Master, there's a massive merchant named Guo Roe who brought 100,000 coins and basically begged me to put in a good word for him. After you saw the name Guo Ri, you kept a straight face, but you were already roasting him in your head, like you're an imperial inspector. Shouldn't you be running back to the emperor to snitch, instead of lurking in the back door, trying to find me?" You held back a sigh and finally spoke up. "The money is fine, but this guy's handwriting is absolute trash. Go tell him to sit tight and wait outside. I still need to think about whether this scrub is even worth my time." Wu Yu waited for the guard to leave before chiming in. "Master Yi, that's an imperial inspector. You're making wait in line at the back door. Even Liu Bei's 3 humble visits don't compare to this level of disrespect." Hearing that, you couldn't help but rub your temples in annoyance. You were hit with a massive wave of regret for how this was playing out. Why is the path home so damn difficult? Just then, Meng Gang stepped out from the back door, walked straight up to Zhu Yanzhang's, and dropped the bombshell. "Master Yi has taken a liking to your wealth, but whether he'll actually see you or not, that's still up for debate." "Wait, what? Didn't he already have his eyes on my riches?" Meng Gang just furrowed his brows, clearly struggling to spit it out. Finally muttering, "Maybe it's because your handwriting is absolute trash." Hearing that, Zhu Yun felt his head hit gritting. Is my calligraphy really that mid? Just then, a woman's voice cut through the air. Which one of you is Master Guo Ri? Please, follow me. As for the rest of you merchants in line, no need to wait around anymore. Our Lord Yi has prepared a banquet for everyone at Yanmen. So, led by the maid, Zhu Yanzhang, and Empress Ma walked right into Yi Qing's private estate, and they quickly arrived at a main hall that just reeked of money. Well, that was Zhu Yanzhang's unfiltered take on the place, at least. The pavilions and architecture they passed were so luxurious, they could literally rival the imperial palace, even using fine glazed tributes that even he couldn't bring himself to use. Here, they were just being used as light fixtures. Zhu Yuanzhang couldn't help but add another charge to Yi Qing's rap sheet: the crime of hoarding imperial tributes, instead of handing them over. Wait here. Don't go wandering off. I'm going to let Master Yi know. The maid finished her sentence and dipped, without looking back. Zhu Yuanzhang couldn't stop himself from scanning the room, his eyes glued to 3 massive square glass display cases, each holding a suit of armor and a weapon. The two of them stepped closer and were instantly shook. Zhu Yuanzhang took one look and realized these kits weren't just standard issue. He eyed the first case on the left and opened his mouth. This is armor from a warring state's general, and there's seal script on the sword. But this style, Empress Ma added, that looks like the Great Seal script from the Zhao state, but most of it is lost to history, so I can't even recognize half these characters. Moving on, the two of them turned their gaze to the remaining 2 glass displays. It was a Han Dynasty general's armor, and the sword was engraved with the emperor's personal inscription. It even bore the private seal of Emperor Wu of Han, Liu Che. Seeing no signs of age, Empress Ma couldn't help but gasp in shock and utter disbelief. Even Zhu Yuanzhang couldn't help but gush. There was no doubt, this was the real deal, just kept in suspiciously perfect condition. It's been passed down for ages, yet not a single scratch or sign of wear to be found. And just then, a youthful but calm voice echoed through the room. Those are all fakes. Just high-quality replicas designed to look the part. Zhu Yanzhang was still locked in, staring at the 3 sets of armor, and blurted out a response. Impossible. These are absolutely authentic. At this moment, you walked up behind the duo. You gave a slight nod with a smirk, thinking this imperial envoy must have been a military man in his past life. How else could he be this much of an expert on weapons? Truth is, these are 100% legit, because you wore every single one of these armors and weapons back in your past lives on the battlefield. The two of them were way too focused on the armor to even notice you creeping up behind them, staring at these legendary sets of gear. The kind you usually only sees in history books is enough to make any man go crazy. What really confused Zhu Yanzhang was how Yi Qing, a mere scholar, could have possibly collected such legendary military relics. I'm telling you, they're straight up fakes. That annoying voice rang out again. No way in hell are these fake, Zhu Yuanzhang retorted with total confidence. Not to mention the other stuff. Just look at this warring state's general's armor. The chest and torso are protected by iron plates, while the rest is reinforced leather. The refined iron sword is even carved with the great seal script of the Zhao state. If I'm not mistaken, this belonged to General Li Mu, the backbone of the Yanmen frontier guards, along with the weaponry of the imperial guards. Standing behind Zhu Yuanzhang, you were low-key impressed by his knowledge. Looking at the broad, sturdy back of this middle-aged man, you started to see him in a completely different light. In that exact moment, gotcha the urge to have a serious sit-down and talk shop with this imperial envoy. It's been ages since you met someone who actually knew their stuff like this. You were almost certain this guy had to be a high-ranking military official. If you weren't in such a rush to get home, you'd definitely be down to spark a bromance with him. It's just a shame that living in this ancient era for hundreds of years has already worn you down to the bone. Our boy needs to trigger these Imperial Envoy NPCs, so they'll rage quit and snitch on him early. Right now, Zhu Yuanzhang is staring hard at that great Tong Mingquang armor over there, along with a Tang Hengdao blade. That's literally half the torso taller than the mannequin stand. If it weren't for the glass display case, he wouldn't have been able to resist touching it. This Mingquang armor is just a cheap knockoff anyway. That annoying-ass voice is straight up killing the vibe. Zhu Yanzhang literally wants to roar and have this clown dragged out and executed. So he straight up claps back to shut them down. Cap, this is absolutely 100% authentic. The Mingguang armor of the Tang court is mainly rocking 4 colors: gold, silver, red, and black. Gold means the gilded cuirass mirror, gilded bracers, gilded gauntlets, and gilded rivets. Silver for the iron scales, black for the inner leather lining, and red for this base fabric and fastening cords. Every single detail matches the historical records perfectly. I bet if we smash this glass and let me count them one by one, it's definitely made of 1,590 armor scales and 644 long plates. This cuirass mirror is polished, as smooth as a bronze mirror. Under the sun, it would flash a blinding light. That's exactly how the Mingguang armor got its name, meaning beholding the light to shake the world. Standing behind him, our boy is stunned listening to Zhu Yanzhang's lecture, secretly impressed that this Imperial Envoy NPC actually knows his stuff. Meanwhile, Empress Ma can't help but ask about the great sword next to the Zhao general's armor. What do those 4 characters engraved in Zhao large seal script actually say? She had noticed someone walking in ages ago and pretty much figured out exactly who it was. Hearing her question, our boy takes a step forward and stands right next to that legendary sword. His eyes flash with a nostalgic vision of peaceful times, and his words ring out with absolute authority. The moment he finishes speaking, Zhu Yuanzhang instantly snaps back to reality. He and Empress Ma stare at the back of the figure in front of them, wearing a white, Ming-style robe that looks incredibly clean and elegant. The bamboo pattern on his robes gives off an absolute main character aura. How does a man like this look anything like a corrupt official? As our boy turns his head, his reflection in the glass perfectly aligns with the great Tang general's armor inside, making it look like a real-life Tang Dynasty general is standing right there. The exact proportions of the armor look like they were custom fit just for him. While Zhu Yuanzhang and his wife are still completely spaced out, our boy strolls over to the main seat and casually sits down like a boss. A cute maid quickly rushes over to serve him some tea. Taking a slow sip, our boy says, "All of these were drawn up by merchants who partner with yours, truly. You guys waited in line for so long just to see me. And you didn't even bring any gifts? You got any gold decorations weighing 2 kilos? What, no paintings by Wu Daozi? Don't even have a single manuscript from Wang Shiji? The only reason I'm giving you an hour of my time is because you showed up with 100,000 coins. Consider yourself lucky. I'm even talking to you." Am was literally buzzing with excitement inside. He thought this royal inspector would definitely flip his lid and storm out any second, probably running back home to snitch on us, right? Meanwhile, Empress Ma was gripping Zhu Yuanzhang's arm like her life depended on it. She was genuinely terrified that Changba was about to go full berserk mode. This Yi Qing guy is seriously pushing his luck. What an absolute menace. But Zhu Yuanzhang looked cool as a cucumber, even though he was internally having a massive mental meltdown. A voice kept screaming in his head, lecturing his furious inner self. "Zhu Yuanzhang, you survived hell and high water to build the Great Ming. But why? You kicked out the invaders and saved the people. But are they even eating good or staying warm right now? Your wife's health is trash, but she still followed you to the front lines. For what? 100 years from now, will the kind-hearted Biaoer actually be able to handle those rowdy Shi warlords? Do you really need this guy in front of you or what?" In a split second, Zhu Yuanzhang's face did a 180, turning into a massive grin as he hyped him up. "So you're the legendary Master Yi. I've heard your name echoing like thunder for the longest time, and I never imagined Master Yi would be this young and goated. You look like a literal god of wisdom, descended from the heavens. No wonder Yanmen County's out here living in paradise. Meeting you today is the biggest W of my entire life." As soon as he finished, you couldn't help it. You spat out your tea and started coughing like a maniac. The maid rushed over to clean up your mess before you even realized what happened. Empress Ma was shook by how much game Zhu Yuanzhang was spitting. But she was also low-key proud. For Changba to swallow his pride like this is top-tier leadership. Enough to make the great Ming dynasty absolutely cracked for generations. Even if she died before him, she could finally rest in peace, knowing he's got that main character energy. By now you'd stopped coughing. But you were still internally spiraling. I've been stuck in this ancient world for centuries. And up this much seen a royal suspend. Looks like we finally hit a real boss fight. You turn around and order your maid to serve these clowns some tea. You tell your men to grab the water clock, insisting that 1 hour means exactly 1 hour. The 4 guards at the door hear this and hurry off to the side hall to prep the gear. But then a voice suddenly stops them in their tracks. Hold up a second. Turns out Wu Yong, the magistrate, is busy stuffing wooden plugs into the beast-shaped spouts of the 3 water clock jars. Just like that, the water flow is cut in half, turning a 1-hour timer into a 2-hour grind. The guard's eyes pop out as he asks, Magistrate Wu, that merchant is your relative. Why go this far for him? Wu Yong is too lazy to explain the situation to these low-level NPCs. Just do as I say. If you leak this to Yi Chen, he'll skin me alive, and I'll pull your tendons out. After this blows over, I'll take the heat and apologize to Yi Chen myself. Bro is literally sweating bullets just to make sure Yi Chen doesn't offend the Imperial envoy. In no time, the copper water clock is hauled into the room, and you throw a side eye at Zhu Yuanzhang and his crew. You dump half the water out of the top jar, making sure the time we spent yapping earlier is added to the count. By now, Zhu Yuanzhang can't take it anymore and reaches out his right hand. But his left hand quickly slams it back down, shaking uncontrollably. You finish your tea, act oblivious and pipe up, Big Boss go. Is your hand feeling a bit numb? Empress Ma sees what's up and quickly grabs Zhu Yuanzhang's arm, saying, Apologies, Yi Chen, we've been waiting in line all day. So yeah, we're feeling a bit stiff. You're keeping a straight face, but you're low-key celebrating inside. If I couldn't see you wanting to throw hands with me, wouldn't that mean my 9 lifetimes of experience were all for nothing? It'd be perfect if these 2 Imperial envoys get triggered enough to just rage quit. Go back and snitch to the old emperor, and boom, mission complete. Zhu Yuanzhang's assassination quest finished. Meanwhile, Wu Yong is lurking at the door, straight up confused. Yi Chen, are you playing hard to get, or just speed-running your own death? This is basically suicide. You're offending the Imperial envoys to their faces. If they go back and report this, is our guy even going to survive? Nah, I gotta step up and save the day for my boss. With that, he scurries into the shadows and pulls a guard aside to whisper some secret orders. Go tell the special ops team to get their gear ready and move out. And notify the city guard while you're at it. The second they see the signal, lock down every gate in the city. Nobody gets in or out, not a single soul. And if those Imperial envoys don't look miserable when they walk out, then cuff them immediately before they cause any more trouble. Understood, Lord Wu, I'm on it. The lackey scrambled away, while you stood in the hall staring at Zhu Yuanzhang, barely suppressing the urge to deck this clown, and could only sigh. So, what kind of business are you boys trying to do with me? Zhu Yuanzhang already had a gut full of questions. I'm new to these parts, and I've heard Lord Yi is a pro at making money. Yet all your subordinates act like they're living like monks. I'm just curious since His Majesty hates corrupt officials more than anything. And even with his heavy-handed iron fist, he still can't get results like you have. So what exactly is the difference? Every time this problem crossed his mind, Zhu Yuanzhang got incredibly triggered. Ever since the Ming Dynasty began, he'd handed out titles and iron certificates like candy, and executed corrupt officials by the boatload. But look at the results. These guys still had the audacity to collude behind his back? He really wanted to know the secret sauce. Hearing that question, you were even more certain of this guy's true identity. That guy on the throne has a few tricks. But how could he compare to me? Talk about having some serious guts. Zhu Yuanzhang couldn't take it anymore. His Majesty is the Son of Heaven. How dare you judge him so casually? You're just a scholar who managed to land a government post. Yet you have the ego to claim the Emperor isn't on your level. Do you even know the first thing about loyalty to the throne? Facing this explosive rage, you just smirked. Are you done yet? What a fanboy. This guy is seriously impossible to deal with. Zhu Yuanzhang turned around in a fit of rage, thinking only of mobilizing his army to wipe Yi Qing off the map. That's when Empress Ma quickly stood up, grabbing Zhu Yuanzhang by the arm to force him back into his seat, then turned to you and said, acting polite, Lord Yi, please forgive him. My husband used to serve in His Majesty's rebel army. He eventually took an early retirement due to his injuries and stopped caring about the politics of the world. Thanks to His Majesty's grace, we were granted the royal contract to handle imperial procurement. Plus, I'm actually the cousin of Empress Ma, so I've got a little bit of pull with the royals. Which is why, when you were roasting the emperor just now, the old man of my house had to swear a blood oath to save face. Surely Lord Yi won't hold that against us, right? Honestly, she didn't miss a beat. She smoothed over the awkwardness and even pulled a reverse card. You can't help but respect the hustle. This inspector's wife is truly a gem in the rough. You sit up straight, clear your throat, and say, "All right, let me break this down for you. The reason I keep my subordinates so clean is actually pretty simple. It's just 4 words. High salary leads to integrity, but the execution needs some finesse. First, you give them a base monthly salary based on their rank, so their families aren't starving. Then you hit them with performance bonuses based on their monthly KPIs. Before long, everyone starts catching the vibe. The better they perform, the fatter their wallets get. Finally, you drop the iron fist and make an example out of the fools who test you. Anyone who dares to break the rules gets paraded through the streets before getting the axe in front of everyone. Like this, even the low-level officials can live the high life without needing to touch a single cent of bribe money. On the flip side, if they get greedy, they're stepping straight into a minefield, terrified of getting caught, terrified of being snitched on, terrified of the public walk of shame, terrified of losing their heads, and bringing disaster on their entire bloodline. As long as you keep 90% of your officials clean, the last 10% won't have a choice but to get their acts together. Zhu Yuanzhang is listening intently and falls into deep thought. The logic actually hits different, and he's never heard anyone spit facts like this before. Usually when a corrupt official goes down, it's never just one person involved. It's always these bureaucrats covering each other's backs, and he can't help but admit deep down, Yi Qing is actually built different. Empress Ma, sitting right there, couldn't help but chime in. So the current emperor hands out rewards to his loyal subjects like it's candy. But he's also dishing out harsh punishments just as often. So why is nothing actually working? Zhu Yuanzhang is listening intently now. He knows this is the real crux of the issue. Yi Qing gives a faint smirk, saying the emperor has actually been trying his best. But honestly, a former beggar who watched his parents starve to death, having to beg for scraps just to survive, then pushing back the northern Yuan, and saving the Huaxia civilization. That alone is enough to make him a legend. Zhu Yuanzhang is speechless after hearing that. He can't even tell if he's being praised or roasted. The emperor built an immortal legacy, driving out invaders. But when it comes to managing his court, he's a total fraud. Sure, the emperor showered some loyal officials with rewards, but it was only for a select few, like Xu Da, Li Wenzhong, and Mu Ying, which is just straight up unfair to everyone else. Zhu Yanzhang hears this and doesn't even snap. He just starts defensive posturing. That's pure nonsense. The emperor rewards them strictly based on their rank. Isn't that just common sense? You stare Zhu Yuanzhang dead in the eye and calmly ask, what about Tang He then? Back when the emperor was still just a grunt, Tang He was already a top-tier general, and even if his merits didn't touch Xu Da's, he was still on par with the emperor's adopted son, Mu Ying. So how exactly did the emperor treat this legend? Aren't you an officer who followed the emperor from day one? You should know exactly how that went down, right? Empress Ma notices that Zhu Yuanzhang is frowning. Beside her, his whole aura suddenly deflating. Years ago, during the ceremony for the founding officials, he personally added Tang He to the list of dukes, but the very next morning, Zhu Yanzhang switched his name over to the list of marquises. Thank goodness, Big Bro Tanks. He was the bigger person. He didn't hold a grudge, but you just stare at this fake merchant envoy, who is now completely speechless, and you don't let him off the hook. Look, fairness has been a total myth since day one, replaced by straight-up inequality. Even a guy like me can only manage relative fairness at best, let alone that Emperor Zhu, who never really cracked a book in his life. His habit of handing out rewards based on his own mood has paved the way for the chaos we see in court today. Being unfair to Tang He made the emperor look like a petty, small-minded loser to everyone watching. Burning bridges like that makes people realize that if you're not part of the emperor's inner circle, your hard work doesn't mean a thing. The imperial court's balance is about to go down the drain. Naturally, some vultures are going to use this chaos to line their pockets. Throw in the emperor's psycho-strict laws, and people are going to start forming factions just to survive. Isn't that literally how the Weiqi clique came to be? Zhu Yuanzhang has completely lost the energy he had when he first walked in. Yeah, this is basically the emperor's skill issue. After whispering that, he shut his mouth tighter than a clam. Empress Ma saw the vibe shift and gently replied, "Old man, once we're back, we'll find a way to talk to the empress herself." Yeah, surely the emperor will have some character development later. Then she looked over at Yi Qing, her eyes full of genuine approval. "Yi, you've got some serious talent, but you really need to filter what comes out of that mouth. Because if you ever head to the capital for an official post, that talkative trap of yours is gonna get you unalived." Hearing Zhu Yuanzhang's not-so-subtle threat, you glanced at the water clock, feeling a bit sus. "I filled that thing halfway, so why is it still dripping? If this old Master Guo really wants to play the long game, I'm gonna have to turn up the heat to make him scurry off and report back." So you dropped the bomb. Are you guys here for business? Or just to play detective on the emperor? Time is running out. So how exactly do you plan to convince me? Give me one good reason to sign this deal. In the little time they had left, Empress Ma laid out their perks with absolute precision. High-tier connections, royal backing, and an exclusive permit for government procurement. Basically a cheat code for distribution. And just like that, the contract was signed. You are now the official regional dealer for the high-end Demon Glassware Workshop in Yingxin Prefecture. With the deal done, you stood up and told your maid, "Go handle the arrangements. We're having them for dinner tonight." "As you wish, my lord." The maid dipped out, and you strolled right out of the room. Zhuanzhang and Empress Moss were being led by another maid to tour your Balor-level mansion. But right then, Wu Yang was lurking at a corner and straight up intercepted the maid, who was headed to sort out the dinner. You can tell by his face that the imperial envoy is feeling the vibe. He wants them to stay for dinner. "Understood, Master Wu." Wu Yang slapped his chest and said, "Just go. I'll handle the dinner myself. I guarantee Master Yi will be satisfied." "Understood, Master Wu." Watching the servant girl walk away, Wu Yang started overthinking everything. Looks like Master Yi's play hard to get strategy actually worked. This envoy didn't even get mad or leave. Instead, he's acting like the time of his life. "I've got to make this dinner so fire that he'll be even more impressed. If I pull this off, he'll definitely hype us up when he gets back to the capital. Then Master Yi's future is basically secured." Once he cracked the code, Wu Yang called the head chef over and started barking orders. "Master Yi is hosting a banquet tonight at the old district office. Invite all the big-shot merchants. Make sure the setup insanely luxurious. Spare no expense." The head chef say less and rushed off to get to work, but that wasn't all. He still had to plan some special entertainment. Wu Yang was betting everything on this, hoping to win the envoy over and make him one of his own. In no time, the whole government office was absolute chaos. They rolled out a red carpet from the entrance to the courtroom, turning the judge's office into a full-blown party zone. Underneath the justice plaque, the judge's desk was replaced with long, fancy Tang Dynasty-style tables. They even laid out another red carpet in the center, just so the dancers could pop off tonight. They even turned the clerk's workstation into a stage for the band. The madness continued until the sun started to set. The sun and moon were hanging in the sky at the same time. Inside the reception hall, Zhu Yuanzhang looked at his tea, but the vibe was just killing his appetite. Isn't this guy supposed to be hosting us for dinner? What time does he think it is? Empress Ma looked at her tea, sighed and put it back down. Honestly, drinking this just makes me even hungrier. Finally, around 7 p.m., sorry for the wait, our man Yi has finally got everything squared away for you two. It's a special welcome banquet, so we're running a bit behind schedule. Hope you guys don't mind. Your entourage waiting outside is invited to join the feast too. This was the first time Zhu Yuanzhang and Empress Ma laid eyes on Wu Yong, hearing how perfectly everything was set up. Even Zhu Yanzhang couldn't help but be impressed. Then, Wu Yong led the squad straight to the banquet hall. As soon as the crew hit the entrance of the Yanmen County Courthouse, the band started dropping some absolute bangers. Wu Yong stepped up, hitting classic right this way gesture. Zhu Yanzhang looked at the familiar layout and got a weird vibe. Empress Ma leaned in and dropped the truth bomb. This used to be the main courtroom for Yanmen County. Hearing that, Mao Xiang and the boys basically had their jaws hit the floor. Zhu Zhang was internally spiraling between shock and pure rage, turning a sacred courthouse into a party spot. This guy is built different. Wu Yang just chuckled and said, "Yeah, you're right. This was definitely the old courthouse. But we built a new administrative hall. So this place was just collecting dust anyway. I personally organized this whole setup here. Lord A is completely out of the loop on this one. This is all my own doing. So please, don't sweat it." Seeing the boss getting tilted, Empress Ma leaned in and whispered, "Honey, the new office Lord Yi built is already handling all the official business, so leaving this old room empty is a waste. Using it for a feast is actually big brain energy. Wouldn't you agree?" "Fine." Zhu Yanzhang gritted out through his teeth. Wu Yang was beaming now, fully convinced that once they stepped through these doors, this high-ranking inspector would be firmly in his pocket by the end of the night. He stepped up and flung the heavy doors wide open. As the group walked in, they were immediately hit with a total sensory overload. A red carpet stretched all the way to the judge's bench, flanked by at least 14 or 15 high-end pavilions on both sides. Inside each pavilion was a square table, with groups of 4 to 8 people vibing together. Looking at their gear and faces, you had Han, Semu, and Mongolians all mixed in. Everyone was flexing their own traditional drip. And right there on the red carpet, performers were out here, throwing down some serious dance moves. And honestly, you really couldn't ask for a better setup. Looking at this display, Zhu Yuanzhang couldn't help but wonder if this were hosted at the Grand Plaza of the Honglu Temple. Wouldn't it be the legendary gathering of 10,000 nations he's always dreamed of? Too bad, the Great Ming currently lacks the drip and the power to actually pull that off. While our main man Zhu and his crew were busy zoning out, Wu Yang smirked and said, "Gentlemen, you've come all the way from Yingxian Prefecture as imperial merchants. Our boss, Magistrate Yi, is super serious about locking in this partnership with you guys. So he ordered me to whip up this massive feast so we could all get acquainted." Zhu Yanzhang gave a crisp nod. "Tell Magistrate Yi we appreciate the hospitality." And just like that, they started strutting down the red carpet. As they strolled past the foreign merchants, everyone stood up to pay their respects to the big boss, Zhu Yunzhang. "Good evening, Elder Bai." Who would have thought? Zhu Yuanzhang went from "I'm only here because I have to be" to absolutely loving the attention. Empress Ma, standing right next to him, let out a soft chuckle. Having slept in the same bed for years, she knew exactly what was going on in Changba's head. The man was definitely hallucinating that he was wearing his full imperial regalia. He's envisioning himself walking down the red carpet at the Honglu Temple, accepting tribute from foreign delegations. This Yi Qing is just a local magistrate. Yet he's got these merchants eating out of his hand. If he gets promoted to the capital, he'd definitely be the one to help the emperor finally achieve that of 10,000 nations vibe. Under the full moon, with Zhu Yanzhang at the center, the whole room started revolving around him like he was the main character. Everyone fighting to toast him. The more the emperor drank, the more his legendary emperor aura started leaking out. Empress Ma actually got nervous that once he was hammered, he'd just stand up and shout, "You foreign envoys, you may rise." Thankfully, Wu Yang stepped in to save the day. All right, everyone back to your seats and keep eating. Let's not get our VIP too wasted tonight. Magistrate Yi is in a great mood tonight. So later he'll let you merchants make one specific request to him. But whether he actually says yes depends entirely on what you're bringing to the table. Hearing Wu Yang drop that bomb, the merchants were absolutely buzzing with excitement. Otherwise, the Wei family is getting clapped. Magistrate Yi has arrived. Suddenly, a voice cut through the air. and a guy looking cooler than the other side of the pillow stepped out, rocking a silk white robe, just vibe-checking the room as he walked in. Of the Korchin tribe, Li Jin Wu Da pays respects to Magistrate Yi. Wang Yuqing, from Taiwan Textile, pays respects to Magistrate Yi. The swarm of merchants rushed forward, tripping over themselves to pay homage. Meanwhile, you've been standing there since the doors opened, just completely speechless, thinking to yourself, I just wanted to grab a nice dinner with the Imperial Envoy, man. Might as well add some fuel to the fire and trigger these clowns while we're at it. But what in the actual heck is going on in front of me right now? No need to overthink it. This is obviously the work of my right-hand man, Wu Yang. After blowing off the people trying to suck up to you, you summon Wu Yang and ask with a dead serious face, what is this supposed to be? My lord, since we're hosting guests, we have to do it right. I figured since they're all merchants, throwing a banquet to network wouldn't be a bad look. At this point, you're totally speechless. But honestly, this mini version of a World Summit banquet isn't necessarily a bad thing, because this is definitely going to boost the odds of getting that Imperial execution decree. Thinking about that, you glance over at the old man Kuei at the end of the red carpet, and sure enough, his eyes are leaking pure killing intent. So you just smirk and start walking over. In no time, the host and guests are seated, fancy gourmet dishes are hitting the tables, and top-tier wine is flowing in crystal-clear glasses. The dancers are already lined up to drop the performance of a lifetime. You're sitting in the main seat, and everyone's got their eyes on you. The whole setup is rocking that classic Tang Dynasty aesthetic. Tonight, let's all dream of the golden age of the Tang Dynasty together. The theme for tonight is none other than a Tang Palace night banquet. The second the words left your mouth, the band started bumping those rhythmic Tang-style beats. The gorgeous dancers immediately started doing their thing, hitting those elegant Tang moves. Zhu Yanzhang is watching all of this, and his face is literally twitching uncontrollably. Throwing a Tang Palace banquet right in the middle of a Ming Dynasty magistrate's office? Is this guy trying to mock me by saying I'm not as good as Li Shimin? Meanwhile, you're just glued to those stunning dancers. And even though you're trying to keep it together, your brain keeps falking with that girl, dancing with a sword. Hearing the teasing laughter, you can't help but chuckle bitterly, muttering to yourself, you're such a fool. Why put yourself through this? Just then, Empress Ma looks at you, sitting there drinking alone and teasing at the moon, totally unfazed by everyone else. It's a vibe, a total vibe. They say the scenery triggers the feelings, and this Yi Chen must really be longing for the glory of the Tang Dynasty. A maid walks up and whispers, Our magistrate specially prepared this fruit wine. For you, please have a taste. Empress Ma stares at the crystal-clear glass, filled with a translucent, vibrant green liquid, and she immediately downs the whole thing in one shot, before looking at you and saying, Magistrate Yi, you really are thoughtful. I couldn't help but look at Wu Yang, thinking to myself, Big bro Wu, I really gotta thank you, man. If I could somehow transport your sorry self to the modern era, you'd literally be the goat of public relations. No cap. Wu Yang caught me staring and gave me a knowing nod, reading me like a book. Lord Yi seemed satisfied. I better get these merchants to kiss his feet ASAP. Wu Yang walked up to the foreign merchants, telling them their moment of glory had finally arrived. Lord Yi is in a great mood, so if you losers have any requests, now's the time to beg. He might actually bite. The merchants were practically buzzing, tripping over themselves to show their gratitude. Suddenly, a guard sprinted in, reporting that the big-shot foreign merchant reps were begging for an audience. I kept it professional, fixed my fit, and waved off the dancers and the band. You lot scram, beat it for now. Zhu Yuanzhang and the rest of the crew were staring at me, looking low-key shook. Zhu Yuanzhang whispered to Empress Ma, I feel like I'm finally seeing the real Lord Yi for the first time. Empress Ma nodded in agreement, clearly shaped to see what was about to go down. Just then, this massive dude with a beard, rocking some Mongolian drip, marched into the middle of the hall and dropped to one knee, clutched his chest, and bowed down like his life depended on it. Merchant of the Ji tribe, Lier Jin Kan de Mu Air, pays his respects to Lord Yi. I didn't even blink, just waved my hand lazily, and stood up to address the clown. Spit it out. What do you want? Demuer stood up and started yapping about how our Yanmen fabrics and leather are absolute fire in their tribe. Our great Khan told me personally that our merchants have to trek all the way to Yanmen to trade raw hides, then haul them back just to get them processed into leather goods. The logistics are straight up grief, wasting all our men and resources. So could you maybe, pretty please, set up a leather workshop in our territory? It'd be a win-win for both sides, and we could sell directly to the rest of the steppe tribes from there. Damn, this guy is actually cooking. Zhu Yuanzhang, posing as a local merchant, couldn't help but gasp in shock. The sound of this guy's greed was loud enough to be heard all the way back in Yingshan Prefecture. Zhu Yuanzhang and Empress Ma both whipped their heads to look at me, but I just kept that stone-cold smirk. Go back and tell your Khan this. I've got a little counter-proposal of my own, and it starts right after winter. The grass situation for the Hai Shi Yan tribe is looking pretty mid, honestly. Meanwhile, my Yanmen County is sitting on over 23 acres of prime natural pasture. If the main branch of your golden family is down to relocate, I'll straight up gift you half of that land, free of charge. After 300 years, whether you stay or leave. That's a problem for future generations, not me. Plus, you can build your factories literally anywhere you want. What do you think, Chief? The Han merchants in the room immediately started hyping him up like crazy. Just come over. Move the whole squad here. We're all family now. As long as you make the move, our merchant guild will handle all the construction for your homes. Everyone was vibing and laughing, while Zhuwens couldn't help but slam the table in pure approval. This kid is absolute fire. His tongue is sharper than any blade. Empress Ma just nodded, looking more satisfied by the second. Suddenly, the tribe's merchant rep stiffened his tone and spoke up. Lord Yi, our great Khan told me to drop another piece of news on you. Actually, 3 months ago, Prince Qi already sent someone to reach out to him, planning a massive, zero-cost business deal right after the Yanmen harvest. It's just that our great Khan would much rather vibe and work with you, Lord Yi. We're talking a fur processing factory. And now the Khan is leaving the choice to you. Give us the word, and it's a done deal. As soon as he finished, the entire banquet went dead silent. Everyone's eyes shifted toward you, and your expression turned ice cold. I might be a civil official, with no military rank, but I can speak for every soldier in the Yanmen garrison. If you tribes want to invade, bring it on and get wrecked. The silence shattered instantly as the crowd exploded into absolute cheers. The Han merchants were going wild, clapping like they'd just seen a miracle. After nearly a century of humiliation under the Northern Yuan's rule, every single Han person was dying to finally scream their defiance. Now that this new Han government is in charge, the Great Ming Empire doesn't bow down to any foreign threat. Zhu Yanzhang felt like he'd just leveled up, looking at Empress Ma with a grin. Sister, why exactly do we establish the Great Ming? Why did we kick out the invaders and reclaim our lands? It's for moments. It's like, so up here people can stare down any threat and talk back without an ounce of fear. Less drama, more peace. Simple as that. Empress Ma just gave a satisfied nod. Damn. Yi Qing actually has the skills to run the diplomatic show, doesn't he? The whole setup is honestly a 10-10, 0 notes. Looks like a straight-up vibe. You just signaled everyone to go quiet, while staring down the trade rep from the Hai tribe. Let me drop a warning. Stay in your lane while you're on my turf. You're a merchant, not a tribal chief, so maybe drop the whole envoy act before you get embarrassed. He heard that and hit you with a respectful bow. You're right, Lord Yi. I'll stop playing envoy from now on. Bro didn't even hesitate. He just dipped immediately. Not long after, the second foreign merchant walked in. Merchant from the Korchin tribe, Uda, paying my respects to Lord Yi. You took one look at this dude and smirked. First, it was a descendant of Genghis Khan. Now, this guy is claiming to be the grandson of his little brother. The Golden family really doesn't miss. Their hustle is actually insane. The second you dropped that line, the whole room erupted in laughter. Uda was clearly pressed, but he had to keep the fake smile on. Lord Yi is right. We're just out here trying to be the best businessmen we can be, hoping to lock in a long-term partnership with you. Lord Yi, you took a casual sip of wine and clapped back. Long-term partnership, huh? Depends. Are you asking for something sus or nah? Habutu Uda finished his groveling and finally dropped his request. Lord Yi, we just want to cop a property near the east and west gates of Yanmen Pass to set up a trade office, hoping you could grant us that favor. The second he finished, the room went colder than an ice dungeon. Just a minute ago, the Khitan tribe was threatening to raid during the harvest. And now this Korchin dude wants a base of operations inside our city walls? Bro is really trying to play the inside man card right to our faces? You didn't even answer. Just glanced over at Zhu Yuanzhang, who's currently cosplaying as a rich merchant. Old man go, madam, you two think this is a W or an L? Faced with your sudden call-out. Zhu Yuanzhang, I am the true dragon son of heaven. Why should I take disrespect from some small-time county magistrate? So he stepped up and spoke with a booming, hype man voice. My great Ming dynasty didn't just fall out of the sky. It was paid for with every inch of land bathed in the blood of our soldiers. What right do we have to sell any of it off? The eyes of the crowd staring at Zhu Yuanzhang immediately filled with mad respect. That's right. The Chinese people have never believed in some fairy tale immortals. They believe in the ancestors who bled for the glory of the Huaxia nation. Empress Ma stepped forward too, saying, if you want to live in the Great Ming, it's not impossible. You learn our language, wear our clothes, and keep our traditions. Watching this, you couldn't help but be satisfied with how these two played their part. One is a war hero who followed Zhu Yuanzhang to crush the Northern Yuan. The other is the Empress's own cousin. You really gotta respect the hustle. You turned around and ordered, bring me my unification of the realm cups. A moment later, a maid walked out with a tray holding 2 glasses that looked absolutely top tier. In the center of the base, there was a tiny, intricate glass mountain. As the maid poured the wine, it literally looked like the entire empire was sitting in that cup. You picked up the unification cup and walked right up to Zhu Yuanzhang and his wife. Your answers really hit the mark, my friends. If His Majesty were here, he'd be absolutely stoked. Come on, bottoms up. Consider this a toast from the emperor himself. Zhu Yuanzhang thought to himself. But he had to force a smile and say, many thanks, magistrate. Then he and Empress Ma downed the entire drink in one go. Looking at this power couple, your eyes were filled with pure evil intent. Once they head back to the capital, they'll definitely tell Zhu Yuanzhang that Ye Qing at Yanmen County is hoarding treasures and acting like the emperor. And since I just forced them to drink a royal toast, he's gonna label me a traitor and execute me for sure. And then I can finally get out of this place and head back to the modern world for that sweet, sweet immortality. A flicker of annoyance flashed across Zhu Yuanzhang's eyes, but Wu Yang caught it from the side immediately. Looks like the imperial envoy isn't exactly feeling the vibe, so he scrambled to his feet and rushed forward. Magistrate Yi, everyone is having a blast tonight. I even set up some fireworks. Let's all go watch. The merchants nearby heard about the fireworks and couldn't stop themselves from cheering like crazy. Man, this is some next level flex. Zhu Yuanzhang heard the fireworks and couldn't help but whisper to Empress Ma, with all that gunpowder money, we could have just made more cannonballs instead. Empress Ma shot him a look and chuckled. If you had more cannons, would you even be able to sleep at night? Hearing his waifu talk back, Zhu Yuanzhang looked low-key embarrassed. Since these rare fireworks are out, if you won't watch them, I'm dipping. With that, Empress Ma just bounced and headed for the door. Seeing his better half leave, Zhu Yuanzhang couldn't help but speed walk to catch up with the party crowd. They all dipped from the hall, leaving me standing there like an NPC. Wondering when this whole event was even planned. I really need to give old Wu a reality check. While my 2 personal maids were already staring out the window with thirsty eyes, I just gave a reluctant smirk. Like, are you two really that desperate to see this? The 2 maids just kept nodding like bobbleheads. Fine, let's go then. So my 2 maids flanked me as we headed out the door. Can I please get a break today? Out on the plaza, everyone was staring at the sky like they'd seen a god descend, watching as rows of green light streaks shot straight into the heavens, looking like a meteor shower, pulling a reverse Uno card from the ground. Right behind them, hundreds of blue light streaks launched from the floor, and honestly, they were moving way faster than the green ones. It didn't stop there. Dozens of red streaks launched in hot pursuit, moving at insane speeds. Truly majestic, they're firing off hundreds of fireworks at once. Look over there. They're actually forming shapes in the sky. Under everyone's gaze, the fireworks painted a massive, epic mural of the sun, moon, and landscape across the night sky. 3 green waves represented the water, and the jagged blue patterns were the mountains. The whole crowd was straight up shook by the spectacle. Wherever the sun and moon shine, that's the glory of Great Ming. A legendary omen, truly peak performance. Zhu Yuanzhang and Empress Ma watched the display, stunned. Is this kid seriously out here, trying to bribe me with a light show? The entire crowd went absolutely wild, and the hype of the banquet reached a literal breaking point. At this moment, you're the only one not catching any vibes. Looking at the imperial envoys, in the distance totally mesmerized by the show. I knew my plans were probably going down the drain again, and they'll probably go back to the capital and start singing my praises. To Zhu Yanzhang. At this point, you're basically looking to turn the guy into your own personal fall-for-work show. He charges straight at Wu Yang, turning him into human Swiss cheese. Imagine getting backstabbed with the exact same technique you taught the guy. Talk about a skill issue. Suddenly, hundreds of golden meteors blast off from the ground, painting 4 massive golden characters in the sky. Great Ming rules the world. Those golden characters flickered, turned into glowing sparks, and finally exploded into a sky-filling golden rain. The sheer spectacle had everyone staring in absolute disbelief. This citywide hype session had the commoners screaming in pure ecstasy. Great Ming rules the world. Great Ming rules the world. The chants just kept rolling, echoing endlessly. And even the garrison at Yanmen Pass got absolutely fired up, joining the hype train, caught up in the vibe. Empress Ma wiped away some emotional tears. Zhu Yanzhang started spiraling, thinking back on his grind building the empire and the bros who rode or died with him. My brothers, are you seeing this? Our Great Ming is truly unstoppable, built on the blood of those legends. A moment later, thanks to Magistrate Wu Yang's planning, the fireworks show officially wrapped up. The smoke cleared, but the city's hype was still off the charts. The people were still out here screaming, "Long live the Great Ming." Empress Ma wiped her eyes again and whispered to Changba, "Are you still doubting him, Your Majesty? We'll head back to the palace tomorrow and tell Showers. Let's see what kind of promotion we should give Yi Qing." Hearing that, Empress Ma couldn't help but beam with joy. Seeing a talented genius get recognized by the imperial court is exactly the kind of W she wanted to see. Meanwhile, you're standing there looking salty, and just as you try to ghost them, Zhu Yuanzhang cuts you off. "Lord Yi, where exactly do you think you're going? You got any more plans for us, or what? But you're just dead tired at this point. You've eaten, you've drank, and you watched the light show. What else is there to do but hit the hay? It's not like I can take a sports car out for a night cruise, right?" The weird slang left Zhu Yuanzhang looking confused. But he definitely caught the hint that you were trying to dip. He wasn't about to throw a tantrum over it, though. "All right. How about tomorrow? Once we finish picking up the goods at the industrial zone, could you take us for a tour of your farming project and that labor reform camp? If you're too swamped, just have Magistrate Wu show us around." As soon as you heard that name, you almost snapped. If that clown comes along, who knows if I'll end up on the wrong end of a death warrant. The imperial decree to parade him through the capital for everyone to see has arrived. So we absolutely cannot let him show his face tomorrow. But looking at this imperial envoy, you just cooked up a genius plan. Tomorrow, you'll take them to inspect the agricultural production in Yanmen County. That way, you'll be able to calculate the exact crop yield for the autumn harvest. Once the tax numbers don't match up, he's basically guaranteed a death sentence. Thinking about this, Stern shifts instantly. You say, "No worries, just rest here for the night. Tomorrow, I'll personally escort you to receive the cargo. I'll show you around the area and personally see you out of the city gates." Seeing your sudden shift in attitude, Zhu Yanzhang is caught off guard, but he follows the maid to his room to crash for the night. Early next morning, you're already up and grinding in your study. You look at the 60-day countdown to your ticket home that you just made. Frustrated, you crumple it up and toss it into the incense burner. Looks like you'll have to craft a new countdown. for when the harvest is over. Wu Yang walks in with a massive stack of paperwork. My lord, here are the expenses for last night's banquet. Please look them over and sign. You glance at the ridiculously high spending report. One single dinner cost 20,000 taels. What a scam. Wu Yang grins and says, My lord, are you satisfied with the reception I arranged? It was top-tier quality. Every cent was well spent. My subordinate guarantees that the envoy will absolutely not talk smack about you in front of the emperor. You roll your eyes, too tired to even deal with this fraud. You sign off on the papers and tell him to get lost. As long as he doesn't mess up your plans today, it's all good. Just don't blow your cover now. Finally, after Zhu Yunzhang and his crew wake up, everyone heads out to a path between the rice fields. Everywhere you look, the rice paddies stretch out as far as the eye can see. The fields are all laid out in perfect square grids. Countless farmers are out there, putting in the work. How many acres of land are we talking about here? Looking at this grid layout, each block is probably an acre, but there are way too many to count. Yo, look at these seedlings. They're way taller than any crop we've ever seen before. The guards in the back were already whispering and losing their minds. Even Zhu Yanzhang was left absolutely shook by what he was seeing. He and Empress Ma leaned in, giving those seedlings a serious inspection. Zhu Yanzhang couldn't help but blurt out his confusion. This isn't Champa rice. It's way bigger. What kind of crazy strain is this? You took one look around, smirked, and said, I actually have no idea what to name this new rice variety yet. Empress Ma was about to speak. But then the farmers working the field spotted Yi Qing's crew. One guy shouted out, It's Lord Yi. I can't believe Lord Yi actually came to visit us. My lord, is the rice paddy fish farming project at your estate finished yet? Last time I walked by, I saw those fish getting so fat they were jumping higher than the seedlings. We're all just waiting on you to drop that knowledge. A bunch of honest, rustic laughter echoed through the air. You heard them and just cracked up, telling them, you guys are truly the definition of greedy. The rice hasn't even been harvested yet, and you're already eyeing the fish. Listen up, one step at a time. I'm only rolling this out once the experiment is a confirmed W. Zhu Yanzhang and Empress Ma caught those keywords loud and clear. New rice and rice paddy fish. The rice was foreign to them, but the fish? That was a legend they knew well. Legend has it that back in the day, Emperor Wu of Han used rice paddy fish as an offering during his rituals. That kind of carp has meat as soft as butter and bones that crunch. Plus it doesn't even have that muddy pond smell. Just a faint scent of rice flowers. Zhu Yanzhang looked low-key stunned, whispering, Yi Qing really wants to farm rice paddy fish out here? Empress Ma scanned the area, noting the natural pastures, the vast farmlands, and all the mountains that were perfect for cultivation, plus the rivers crisscrossing everywhere. It's colder than the Central Plains, but it's actually perfect for these kinds of crops. If this is depth, the farmers are going to be absolutely swimming in profit. She glanced at Zhu Yuanzong, adding with a wink, That's a direct hit to your wallet, and a wins for your imperial tax revenue. Zhu Yanzhang heard that, and now he was looking at you like you were the best thing since sliced bread. Just then, Wu Yang popped out of nowhere, walking up to Zhu Yuanzhang with a suspicious grin. This new rice was imported from foreign lands. It's different from Chiamtan rice. Plus, after 3 years of grinding at the labor farm, our boy Ye Chen has totally mastered the process. We can definitely scale this up for mass production. Hearing this, even Empress Ma, with all her wisdom, couldn't help but lose her mind. Is this Yi Qing guy actually an alchemist of nature, rewriting the DNA of crops like it's nothing? What's the yield per acre? Can you hit 400 caddies? We've only harvested one batch from our 100-acre test farm, and it's already outperforming the competition, hitting over 600 caddies. Zhu Yuanzhang's eyes nearly popped out of his skull. He looked at Wu Yang, completely shook, and said, Official Wu, exactly how many acres of land does your Yanmen County actually have for rice farming? Wu Yang smirked internally. This was the exact bait he was waiting for. If he could impress these VIPs, wouldn't the emperor be hyped too? He pulled out the master plan he'd been prepping. The full resource map of Yanmen County. He started reading the stats like a pro, noting Yanmen County has 11 townships and tons of land. 1,582 acres total with 825,600. acres of agricultural land, including 434,700 acres of farmland, 337,700 acres of forest, 29,600 acres of gardens, and 23,630 acres of natural grazing pasture. Zhu Yanjiang was stunned by how granular these numbers were. Your Lord Yi is really cracked to have this much data on the county. Are you sure these stats aren't cap? Wu Yang kept a straight face and said, 100% legit, no errors here. If Boss Go doesn't believe us, just pick any random spot on the map, and we'll personally go there to fact-check it right now. Just then, you finished chatting with the farmers, turned around, saw Wu Yang, and got a massive feeling that you were about to be cooked. Zhu Yanjiang stood next to you, hype as ever, and said, Lord Yi, this is a massive W. Why aren't you celebrating? I'm gonna report this to the Emperor personally when I get back. You're about to get a massive promotion, bro. But the more he talked, the darker your face got. Empress Ma watched the scene, totally confused. She didn't get why your eyes were full of pure regret. According to Wu Yang, this special rice was your personal 3-year passion project. You should be a legend in the history books. So, why are you looking